December the 17th, 2025. It's our December monthly inmate disciplinary oversight board meeting. We're in the Tennessee Tower in Nashville, room C. Here in the room is Mr. Dale Carr, our executive director, Mr. Mike Stahl, Dr. Mary Carpus, Ms. Betsy Wiseman, Mr. Lee Frank, Mr. Mike Sharon, and Mr. Mike Dunn. Virtual, we have Ms. Heather Dole and our attorney, Steve Gerberger, and right now, virtual, we have Mr. Quantel Lindsay, who will be actually in the room in a few minutes. So, Mr. Chairman, or Mr. Director, we do have a quorum present. And you can ask Mr. Mike Dunn if he would like to start off.
I'll be honored. Let's pray, everyone, shall we? Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for all who gather here today and join us virtually as well. We pray your blessings, continued blessings on our board, on our leadership, on our state leadership, and on our federal leadership as well. We thank you for all the families represented here. And we thank you for the decisions we're able to make for the safety of our citizens here in Tennessee. We ask your blessings on our work, on everything we do. We ask you to give us opportunities to serve you through this board. And we thank you for the fellowship we enjoy amongst our fellow board members and staff. We ask you to bless this meeting and thank you for the reason for the season, birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ. In his name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mike. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I'll just reiterate, Merry Christmas to everybody. Thanks for being here. We'll just take a second, and reflect a little bit on where we've come. I mean, I think this year has been incredible. I think the annual report reflects that. I really appreciate everybody's hard work. Really looking forward to next year as well. And if you just think for a minute or two about where we were and what we're able to have accomplished and where we're going, I think it's really impressive. So I know this is our last meeting of 2025, but you know, I can't say thanks enough for everybody's hard work and the fact that we can all be here doing this to end the year. So thank you for that. Okay, we'll jump right into the agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our November meeting. Those were previously distributed and the videos on the website as always. If there's no questions, we can jump right to a vote on that.
Motion to approve.
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion on the previously distributed minutes from November or questions about the November meeting? All right, hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the last 30 days. I know we've had a couple of meetings in the last few weeks, so a lot of this stuff will be, you all heard, but we're in the process of finalizing the questionnaires for the House Finance Ways and Means Committee that will be before when session starts next year, and the Senate Finance Ways and Means Committee next year as well. One of those questionnaires has already been submitted, working on the other one. No surprises. I know we've had a couple of board members talk with some DHOs about their questions or incidents that they've been reviewing recently. Love that. I think that's a great thing. If anyone has any issues, reaching anybody, please let me know. We'll make sure that happens. We've sent our most recent prolific offender list to the Board of Parole so that they can use that in their decision making. The appeals subcommittee has been meeting regularly and doing great work. We always appreciate their efforts as well. And as for this month, we distributed 1,282 new cases for initial review. I know you guys are working hard looking at those. So as always, I appreciate your work doing that. And that's it for the last 30 days. Any questions? Okay. Moving on to outstanding matters, things that we still have that we're working on. The first is the annual report. Got some feedback on that. That's been sent to the publisher, so we expect to have that finished by January 1st. Then we'll start getting it distributed to everybody who's required to get one statutorily, as well as a bunch of general stakeholders like committee members and some other people who are interested in what we do. We also load that on our website. And what's interesting about that is I get to look at the statistics for how many times anything has been downloaded on our website, for example, different forms for the appeals process, or if people have questions for the board or public record stuff. We also have a copy of our 2024 annual report on there. That's been downloaded close to 400 times. So people really do look at these things. I'm really happy with what we've been able to accomplish this year, and I think the annual report reflects that. So I'm excited about getting that out to everybody. And we should have that here in the next couple of weeks. The holidays obviously slow some things down, but I think by January 1st, we'll have that, and everybody here will get copies. The MOU, we're still waiting to hear back from the Department of Correction on getting that signed. Don't think there will be an issue, but I know legal is going through that process for them. So still waiting on finalizing that. And the last thing I'll bring up on the outstanding matters is not necessarily something that we have to decide right now, but it's something I wanted to pose to the board. The parking situation in the Tennessee Tower, where we usually have our meetings, has obviously been a little more congested. There's been some new tenants who have moved into the building, some larger apartments. So speaking to parking services, they expect that limited availability to continue through next year. If we want to continue to have meetings in the Tennessee Tower, one thing I'd like to post to the board, like I said, we don't have to decide on this now, but I'll probably bring it up again. And so at some point, I'd like to get some thoughts on it. Do we want to move our offices from the Andrew Jackson building into the Tennessee Tower if space is available? If we were to move into the Tennessee Tower, based on the conversations I've had with parking services, the spaces that they're prioritizing now are for tenants of the tower, their guests, and their executive leadership. So while there's no guarantee that we will be able to have space for everybody on a month-to-month basis, if there was availability in the tower, and if we moved into the tower, our ask for those spaces would move up as a priority. So again, we're settled in the Andrew Jackson building. It's a beautiful space that we have. But if the board is interested in doing that, I do a monthly meeting with Stream, which is essentially the real estate arm of the state of Tennessee. And I could ask them to look into availability in the tower for us if we wanted to make that move, which hopefully would help a little bit with the parking situation on a month-to-month basis. If we don't do that, then we're going to continue to utilize parking in whatever way we need. So private parking options, some state lots, some appointee help, that kind of thing. So it's kind of up to you all. I just kind of want to throw that out there. Again, we don't have to make any decision now, but maybe as people think about that and develop their thoughts, they can let me know on whether that's something they'd like me to try to pursue or not.
Is there a reason that you think there might be space available? Because I think we wanted to be in the tower initially.
I don't know what space would be available. You're right, and there wasn't space available at the time. I know they had at least one large tenant move in, so I'm just assuming that now they have some space. We also have a better idea about what our needs are now. So typically they'll ask you on a square footage percentage what kind of space you're looking for. When we moved into the Andrew Jackson building, we asked for a certain amount of square footage that we thought we would utilize. But now that we've been in there a while, we've realized we don't utilize as much of that square footage as possible. So if we were to move into the Tennessee Tower, we'd probably limit our footprint, which would help us maybe find some space. So that's one reason why. Now, when it comes down to cost.
I would say, would that save us money, or is it?
So it would probably even out because the square footage that we utilize in the Andrew Jackson building is less on a square foot basis than it would be for the tower, but we'd be asking for less square footage in the tower. So it would probably even out. It certainly wouldn't be more. How much less or how even it would be would depend on what we were offered. But we'd probably go from, if I were to request a move, probably go from right now in the Andrew Jackson building. We have our conference room, we have a storage room, we have 6 offices, and then we have some space outside the offices for admin. Realistically, we don't utilize all of that every month on a continuing basis. And so if we move to the tower, we'd probably look at only having 3, maybe 4 offices. So we'd significantly reduce our footprint. But the square footage price per foot basis would increase. So it would come in even or lower, but I don't know how much. So no, I haven't had those conversations yet. Again, because I kind of want to open up to the board before
I like that. I always want to be in the
Yeah,
tower.
as long as it's not more money, I would think it makes sense, right?
Okay.
Certainly if we could save money, even better.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, my next meeting with Stream is in a couple of weeks. We have a rep working directly with them. And I'll I'll broach the subject with her unless there's strong opposition to me not even pursuing it.
Do we have a lease? Like, I mean,
No, it's on a month by month basis.
That would at least encourage them if we got over here that, hey, we need some parking place.
Well, we would move up in the priority list because we'd be a tenant of the building.
Mr. Director, when we were dealing with Stream and they were showing us the spaces available, we had asked for room here, and they told us they didn't have. But when we finally settled at the Andrew Jackson building, the lady that was showing us different spaces there, Metro Center, and others said that the plans were when the new War Plaza was built, it will have underground parking and the food to serve.
Who knows when that's gonna be?
Yeah, that's a large project. That's the project that you see happening right outside the front of the Tennessee Tower. That's why they closed that road so much. They're doing a lot of work in there. And there will be offices and there will be parking space below the War Memorial Building when it's finished, but there's just no telling when that will be. So we can wait for that, it's another option, but, anyway, if there's no strong vocal opposition, the next meeting I have with Stream, I'll begin the process of talking with them about a possible. Okay, great. Well, that was easy. Thank you, everybody, for that. That's it. That's all I had for outstanding matters. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to inquire with regard to the request that I made at the last meeting for the training for the D board and whether or not we've received any response to our continued request to have the D board training from the Department of Corrections provided to me.
I have not gotten a response back on that. I will check again and see what they said.
You're talking about the slide decks or?
Yes, I'm talking about the curriculum from the Training Academy. How are these D board
14 slide decks or something? they talked
members
about?
being trained? We've asked for it repeatedly. We're 2 years in.
Okay.
And by the way, that's no reflection on our executive director.
No,
I know that all he can do
absolutely.
is
No,
request.
well, yeah, and, but,
Yeah.
to be fair, I mean, the continued requesting of it is an important component of making sure that it's not something that's been forgotten. So, no, that's, no, I appreciate that. I mean, everybody, as you have these issues, please let me know. I try to communicate with them as often as possible, and I try to prioritize our communications with them so that they know this has been something that's been pending for a while, and it's not going to go away. So, by all means. Okay, great. Well, if we move on to the second tab in everybody's packet, it is the incidents that we're moving for inclusion into the record. October incidents totaled 642, bringing our total, the way we classify them as OKs, up to 5,373 for the year. And we can move those into the record and off the books if anyone has a motion to do so.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion seconded. Any discussion on those? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Great. Okay. Appreciate everybody's attention to that. And we can move on to our first set of incidents and cases, and led by our chairman.
That's one.
Yes, sir. Thank you. For my October reviews, I had 225 cases. Out of those cases, I reviewed 117 cases that were properly handled by the D board. There were 31 that I had to either give time back or take time from. I had 49 that were just showed dismissed. I did have 10 that they are putting the not guilty in, which they say that they're trying to get their DHOs when it's dismissed. It was because there were 2 people in one charge that it's supposed to say not guilty. They hadn't got that thing, but I did have 10 that showed guilty. I had 7 that were either a death, a write-up that was a weapon in common area that it was not actually an incident. And then I had 11 fees out of that So for the month, there were 794 credits taken by the Department of Corrections. With the addition, I'm going up to 878. On my cases, for 89 months that I am requesting to be removed from the cases that I reviewed. There was, out of one of those cases, there was one that actually was appealed, and the warden upheld the decisions and it was affirmed. And I had two cases that they actually took little went over the matrix, so I'm having to return 5 minutes. So those are the cases I've got. The trends that I saw, especially in October and November, is Whiteville, especially in November. Whiteville has started doing a lot more drug testing because they have 3 overdose deaths in November. And I can tell you that for the first 10 days of December, I do the river bend down to West Tennessee. Just in the first 10 days, I've already got over 650 cases in 10 days. Drysdale and Whiteville. This December is going to be a big month.
With drug testing or just everything?
Everything. Shakedowns, drug testing, weapons, they're on the tear. And I would request that my review be approved and submitted to the PDOC since then.
So move.
Second. Okay. Any discussion about these cases? These incidents? Okay, hearing none. We'll try with a voice vote. If it's close, we'll move to a roll call vote. But all in favor of approving both the restoration and removal dockets from Chairman Bassfider, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, sir. Okay, I believe our next presenter is Mr. Lee Frank.
Yes, I had, on my docket this month, I had a total of 25 credits that we need to take away that were not right by the D board, and I'm restoring 5 back.
Okay, any trends or issues that you've noticed this month that you'd like us to either present to TDOC or you just want to highlight for the group?
Quite a few D board didn't receive from Hardin County. I don't know if anyone else saw that.
Yes.
It seems like, Jerry, had you talked to them about that? Did they have any comments? Was that the one where they said that they were double, something happened on that?
Yeah, there were also, if you noticed, a lot of cases that ended up being blank and it's a rewrite. Where you go in there, sometimes they write it 3 times before they got it correct. But they got a new DHO in Hardeman County and tried to get them in the act. There's a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, besides that, I am genuinely happy with, progress that, that we're seeing being made by the D boards. I think, and I just didn't have that many that I had to change with, but I know that others have more. So, I mean, I know they're still out there. I know some that it's just whichever cases you get. So, besides the Hardeman County, I guess that's really it that I saw. Mine was pretty uneventful.
Okay.
Docket.
I'll just highlight a couple of things. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
No, I was gonna move. Go ahead.
You brought up some interesting things about just having questions about particular incidents.
Yeah.
We have gotten the absolute green light to reach out to DHOs directly, and talk with them about the things we're seeing, the things we want to know more about, verbal warnings, whatever. Hey, I noticed this month you guys are making a lot of changes. Can you explain that to
That's a
me?
very good.
So please don't be shy about doing that. Like, I think that's a great thing. A lot of people have had questions about referrals to the district attorney's office, the local district attorney's office. If you have questions about that, we can 100% reach out to those investigators and try to understand better. Hey, why didn't you refer this case? Could you refer this case? And they will. So they know that we're watching. They know that the expectation is that they will answer our questions when we have them. So by all means, please utilize that moving forward. I think it's a really important tool to let them know, obviously these meetings, obviously the work that we do, the forms that we send over, is critical, is the crux of what we do. But, whenever we have a reason to reach out to the TDOC personnel and just remind them, hey, we're watching, we're looking. And if there's anything that looks uncertain or questionable, we are going to talk to you directly about what's going on there, why is this happening, and then when we come, we'll make those changes if necessary. So,
Right.
If you're seeing some of that stuff,
Yeah.
we'll get you in touch with the people so that you feel good about, whatever you're seeing. Or, just explain to them, hey, don't really see it that way,
Right.
But based on what I'm seeing across the board, you're different. And, you may need to talk to your leadership about why that is. And I think that's helpful for them as well. So,
That's a good point. I will reiterate that. The people that, and I think that they are receptive to us, and I really appreciate TDOC, whether it be Mike Ward or Richard Muck, the people that, or, I know Mike Sharon talked with the D board chairman. I think that the relationship that we're having is beginning that they realize that we're here to help. And I've had Mike Ward, I had a case, sometimes, and I'm sure we'll all have a case, and this is a really difficult case. And like, they did it this way, you could have done it, it's kind of tricky. And he has actually said, I'm going to use this because he has D board with all his D board captains once a week. This is an example to teach them. And so if you have, I would encourage everyone, if you have cases that are really like, this is a really interesting case, he will actually use those and make an example for teaching.
Or any
This program, this new matrix is still just a year old. So, there's still teaching going on. So,
yeah, and when we expect that to be updated as well. So
right.
that will continue to refine itself. But
Anyway, that's all I have. I moved to, well, I can't do that. Someone else says to do that.
So moved.
Okay. Seconded. Okay, any discussion on the incidents for Mr. Frank? Okay, all in favor of moving these into the record, moving forward, both his restoration and his newest docket, please say aye. All opposed? All right, nice have, thank you, sir. Okay, the next presenter we have is our esteemed Mr. Puck.
Thank you, Mr. Director. I had, not the same number of cases as everybody else, but I had 52 instances that I showed that I take some time away from. I took 258 months away from these 52 cases here. You can see in my docket. And on the restoration, I restored three months there. And like everybody else, we're seeing the trends that's happening, some of us, more trouble, whatever. And a lot of them are, I had one case that I listed here. I didn't do anything with it. I thought it should have been an A, but we'll discuss that later. That's just what I put it on there, but from Bledsoe. But anyway, that's what I've got. And I have my thing for 258 months to difference than what the D-board took off.
Sir, any trends or issues that you'd like to relate to TDOC for this month or just for the group?
Well, it's already been said, but the trends that's been going on. So, it's, it's, It's getting closer, a little, I think, sometimes on what to do, but I still have, I don't know, but I had quite a bit on my docket this time. Last week, I had 52 different instances to take off.
Can you talk a little bit about that last incident there where it says should be an A fence?
I looked back up, I forgot.
Okay, is that one you just want to send over to TUC and have them?
Yeah, that'd be all right. So I see what they said. Yeah.
Okay, great. And then also, obviously, we have some, incidents that we're holding over.
Yeah.
From our last meeting, those are in the back.
Okay.
For everybody's benefit, the last tab has those incidents that we're holding over until our next meeting in January, so those have not been forgotten. We'll get to that maybe at the end.
Okay, they're okay.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion made, seconded. Any discussion about the removal or the restoration docket for Mr. Carr? Okay, hearing none, we can move to a vote on that. All in favor of moving the removal incidents and the restoration incidents into the record for action, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that passes. And I just also want to say thank you, everybody. Your dockets look really, really good. They're really clean. If you got any issues about the headers, just let me know. We can work on those. But I really like the way that I know people have been putting a lot of effort into making it look organized. And it's just so much helpful as we go through and look at these things to be able to look at them in a clean fashion. So thanks everybody for your hard work too. Okay, our next presenter is Mr. Lindsay.
Let's see where, apologize guys for being late and, we're on my page. I had a total of, in my month, I took away, I restored 30 months and ended up removing, I believe, 155 months, and they were all in the matrix. And, I have nothing else, ED, unless somebody has a question about my document.
I've got one question.
Please.
Montel on, having trouble with my glasses. Morgan County, Thomas was 512594. It's a weapons case.
Say Thomas number again.
512594. It's like,
Yeah.
seventh down.
Yeah.
You got another guy had 45 priors. The D board took 12, but you're asking for additional 12?
He actually had 24, he did, and that, and I did ask for that just because it's like, when I look at his incidents, it's like, I think this young man, hold on, there's two of them.
Yeah, there's two of
There's
them.
two of them.
So are we talking about the IND or the WHK?
WHK,
Okay.
because of the IND, it can go to 24. My question was on the weapons charge, the 9 to 12 is all.
Yeah, so, no, you are right, Sheriff. So because of the incident, no, on the weapon, that's my error. No, then I would have just stayed in the matrix with that one.
So you're going to remove that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, remove that. Good catch.
So we'll remove that one. Tammy, do you see that one?
I do have it marked.
You have it marked off? Okay, thank you. Okay, great.
Anyone else?
Any other questions?
There's yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm just looking at it while talking, but northeast, the last one, northeast, I'm reading it correctly, the PGA, we had 13 priors. They gave him 12 that you're restoring, you want to restore 12,
Yes,
so make that a 0,
yes.
even though he's got 13 priors.
Yes, and, I want to make that a 0, and I don't mind elaborating if you want to.
Yes.
Okay, well,
If you don't mind.
yeah, if you
I'm sorry, I just.
No, it's good. I found, I'm Dale Carter now, we get to discuss my stuff. Thank you, Dale. And this is why I removed those. When I read the description, they say a double OG crit is walking to the shower. And he has 2 regular crits walking to the shower. And they stand outside the shower, while he take a shower. And they charge,
What did you call them, a WOG?
it's a double OG crib.
What is that?
It's like it's the.
I'm sorry.
Get with the programs.
Maybe you all know.
Yeah, and that's how they got it written. Double OG roller 60 crib is walking to the shower, escorted by two other, just foot soldier cribs.
But what's the WOG?
Double, you like, so
Like
you
I
got,
got, right?
no, so you got the YG, you got the BG, you got the OG, you got a double OG. So
What's that?
I mean, he's him, he's the president.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's the,
I'm sorry.
he's the double, to be double, he's, that's what
Don't
they
get
said.
some gang training.
Okay.
All right, I got you down, don't worry about it. So with that being said, when I read the description, he's walking to the shower and he got two people with him. He takes a shower and goes back out. They hit him with, gang activity. Well, now we have to understand the system, and Dunn will know as well. The most vulnerable you are in the shower. If this person, he could not even be active. He could not be old. So he's in the shower and two people say, he could have said, man, I'll give you a noodle. I'll give you a phone call if you just make sure I'm good in the shower.
What's that? Yeah.
So, noodles, yeah, currency.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you this to make sure I'm
What
good.
is it?
Like soup.
Ramen noodles.
Oh, uh-huh.
Okay, so what that is, and I'm saying that a lot, so everyone got hit with 12 months, and I read it over again. And they put the double OG, and this is how they work. The double OG roller 60 was escorted by two roller 60s to take a shower. He then takes a shower, get out, and they walk him back. Well, no, they don't have a Second Amendment, but what I'm saying is civilians in there, peons, will hire people to say, well, y'all watch while I'm in the shower. They have no clothes on, they have no weapon. So I'm like, that's a security threat, that he had his form of protection while he took a shower. And
Why do you think they even write it up as gang activity? I mean, it must be some reason.
Go ahead.
Because he is being shown that level of respect and safety and protection.
Yes.
Because part of gang activity within the prisons is providing protection, selling protection, and ensuring protection for some prisoners at the expense of others, presumably. And so it is written up as participation in a gang activity. I understand your point that, the idea of someone watching over someone while they can safely shower seems harmless enough. On the other hand, I do understand why it was written, and because the D board convicted the person of it, I would think using the matrix, and particularly given how many priors, what would be the justification for vacating the sentence credit removal when you're not vacating the conviction? I could understand if you vacate the conviction.
It goes, it's the same thing when our argument is, allowing the correction officer to understand it from their point of view. The thing is, I just had an incident on my last report where someone got stabbed multiple times, had to go out to the hospital, got beat up, and he didn't have some form of security. So what I'm not advocating for is for gang activity, but someone saying, hey, Dale, Frank, would you watch my back while I'm in the shower? Shouldn't take away 12 months of my good time. There was no rival involved. And even though these are inmates, even though these are people that have broken the law and paid their debt to society, they do have a right to try to make it home alive.
Do you think there's any benefit to discouraging that activity?
Any benefit to discouraging it? Like, don't do it?
Yeah.
It's benefits to people. No, I think it's dangerous. I think if everyone stopped doing it and there was no gangs, then yes, but as long as you have affiliation, people going to the showers alone. No, this is the fact. Civilians, affiliated, not affiliated, nobody goes to the shower by themselves.
In other words, if two of the other gang members had not provided his protection, and it just been two other regular inmates provide protection, they wouldn't have wrote him up as a gang activity. Is that what you're saying?
More than likely, they would not have, but he doesn't have, quote unquote jurisdiction over anyone else but his fellow gang.
Right.
Yeah, so, but he could, now, if he would have hired two regular guys, they still could have because of his status.
Okay.
And they took the ones that was escorting them there. So then if we are, so we can go back, and I have no problem removing this. I might have one problem, let me clarify that. But then we remove this now, and now men are going to the shower by themselves. Then we're looking at more assaults, we're looking at possible deaths. So what is the harm of two people making sure one person gets to the shower and back to their cell safe?
This is my, I understand your point. I think this might be a good, because when we speak to them and have these, like a TS, to me, a tamper with security device can be, to me, could be an A or B. Really depends on if you're trying to disable it for this or that. And I think they're going in that direction. I can understand. My issue is, I believe that we stay in the matrix, and then the matrix is 9 to 12, and I guess we could get back 3 down to 9 if you wanted to do that instead of 12 to say 9. But that's my sticking point, is that I do want to stay. I feel that we should stay in the matrix, and this might be a good example to talk to TDOC, because I mean, we're talking with people that make decisions. We're talking way up the ladder. That a PGA could be when you get together and about kill a guy, that's a PGA. That could be the A. But a situation like this, maybe you could have a PGA that's a B, or
Can a PGA be an A or a B?
No, but if this is a PGA.
and I mean, that might be a TT moment.
On that incident where I asked for 12, let's remove that and stay in the matrix.
Table it, or is it?
No,
Do you want to take it off completely, or do you want to?
I want, they gave me 12 for that incident.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take my 12 off and keep them in the matrix.
9 for 9.
No, it's
So you're just going to remove the incident from your docket completely?
no, the one that is the 5125, it's the same one, it's the same person, I believe.
He's talking about Morgan. That has to. do
Yeah,
with
Morgan, I'm talking about
indecent
Morgan. Yeah, that
As well
indecent.
as the
So,
possession of a
so
deadly
to
weapon.
go with my brother Lee and stay in the matrix, yes, in the Morgan, let's remove that and keep him just at 12. And just will okay it and not okay it. When it goes,
Okay.
okay,
Got that.
now we're back to the gang act. So if
Yeah.
this is gang activity, then everyone on the yard who's working out is can be rolled up for gang activity. The Bloods are going to lift weights with the Bloods. The Aryan Nation are going to sit with the Aryan Nations at chow. Then if we allow, if this is the president, all we are going to have is gang activity. Breaking news: gang members hang with gang members.
Right.
So one thing is where I just looked and saw a man got stabbed in the head, stabbed in the face, stabbed in the chest, had to be escorted out of prison, and it's like, I know these are prisoners. I know they have broken the law, but they still have a right to go back home to their families alive. And if we are writing people up because they're walking to the shower with other people that they are affiliated with as gang activity, no weapons were found, no one was armed, and you take a year good time. So then when you walk into chow and you see the Aryan Nation Brotherhood or the Bloods or the Crips or the Vice Lords eating chow together, do we hit them with gang activity?
Well, that's a large question. Yeah, Dr. Carlson.
So maybe one way to think about this is actually acknowledging that the gangs operate and control safety within the prisons. That's what this conversation is really about. And while I certainly appreciate and understand the safety concerns of anyone in the prison, when protection rackets are allowed to operate in prisons, it's not the leaders of the gangs who are harmed by those protection rackets. It's a common inmate, and we've had a mother come before us twice and talk about the protection money she sent so that her son can take a shower. And I think it's very concerning. I mentioned the trend last month, and I'll talk about the trend again this month. And assaults and even murders that are going on that are clearly related to protection or lack of protection in a prison or prisons where the protection is supposed to be orchestrated through the policies, procedures, and the behavior of the staff.
Yeah.
Not the behavior or the protection arrangements by inmates. And everybody should be able to come to prison knowing that you have to stay here, and we hope that you're going to take advantage of rehabilitation and improve your circumstances. But we have an obligation to keep them safe and alive, whether they're the head of some gang or not the head of some gang. And I'm just real concerned that we've been reading now 2 years of these incidents, and there's clear evidence that there's a protection, an active gang protection racket ongoing, not in any one facility, but across the board.
Can I make a record? Can we table that one and make it part of our January discussion, that case that I brought up? I'm sorry for bringing it up. It's the first time I've seen it. But can we table that? So we're not voting on it today unless you feel passionate about it, so we can talk about it.
No, what I don't want to do is, what I'm not trying to do is sit here and advocate for gang members or gang violence.
Sure.
So I have no problem with that. What I'm trying to do is, go ahead, Chair.
I'm not reading Lindsay's case. There were 3 people that were written up on this. 2 of them got verbal warnings, and just the one
Yep.
got.
Once in a while,
And it doesn't, and I understand this, people watching out for shires, even in county jails, we had to have, because shires, there's no cameras. It's the easiest place to sneak in. It's slick. You can hurt someone, save the bail. But it doesn't, there's really not a clear understanding why 2 got verbals and 1 lost. So I understand kind of some of.
Well, sure, I do too.
Would it be helpful, we have our closed discussion that we're having in January on a couple of issues. If this is a point of emphasis for you, Mr. Lindsay, perhaps between now and that meeting in January, especially as people are going through their November instance, which they're looking at now, I think it might be helpful for Mr. Lindsay's benefit and for this discussion for people to pay particular attention to the PGAs. And maybe there is a larger issue that needs to be clicking for us about gang activities. And then when we come in January, we can have a larger discussion about why these activities continue to happen, what trends we're seeing, and then perhaps what fixes we can apply to those, so that there's more of a consensus about, because if people are just looking at this one incident, they may be saying to themselves, well, is this a bigger issue? So maybe we could take these next 30 days before that internal meeting we're having, and everybody can kind of see that this is a larger issue, and Mr. Lynch is kind of bringing it to the floor.
Right. I was gonna,
Mr. Frank, Mr. Dunn, and then Dr. Carpenter.
I was gonna be real quick. Everybody is noticing this. I know Jerry had a lot of taking time. TDOC at the top level are blanking out time on PGAs. If you guys don't notice that, does anybody else seeing those? It'll be like a AOW, a PGA, and a knife, and the PGA, you go to it, and the LPB is blank. That's happening in Nashville at the commissioners. What do they call Jerry? Designees. So they're looking at PGAs. Something's going on with PGAs right now, and I think this is a good. So they're blanking those out. But the thing is, they've not, for, myself, I'm not speaking for anybody else, who wants to follow their policy, the PTA is still in Hague. And so I have to take time for it by doing,
But you may not have to.
working within the system. I have to
You may not have to if, again, this might be a good opportunity, Mr. Lindsay, if you're willing to reach out to DHO at Northeast and say, hey, I noticed that the other two only got verbal warning, but you gave 12 months to this individual, and I'd really like to understand more about why that decision was made.
Right.
Because, you know, in my estimation and based on what I'm seeing across the board, that's problematic for me. And it might be a good opportunity maybe to, you know, next time we can get you that number.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to put more work on you,
That's
but
fine.
but understanding a little bit, you know, what everyone's sort of talking about. How are you, sir?
Public meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I can almost, guesstimate their answer is gonna be his status. It was his status.
And that
Yeah.
may be worth
And that may
miles
be-
of room.
And my whole thing, great discussion, by the way, and then I want to hear from you. I just think this is a broad, I think we're PGA in a broad brush, and I think that's what's going to happen. So now, this is my last statement. These men, period, and Dr. Crawford is right. There is a protection extortion racket going on with these showers. That's just the reality of it. And that's just the case because there's no cameras and you're the most vulnerable. What I'm looking at is if people are now going to showers by themselves and then a man or a woman is being attacked, that's pulling the officer away from a duty that can cause it goes on. That's why we do need to push it to January because it's a rabbit hole. It's nuance to it. So go ahead.
Okay.
I just want to make a quick point to back up what Brother Lindsay was saying is shower security does exist without gang affiliation.
Mhm.
You do not have to be a gang member to participate in or provide shower security. It happens every day. Also, aggravated assaults and homicides exist that are gang related that are not being charged as gang affiliated charges. There's a huge divide there. And a lot of times it's overlooked. And a lot of times it's misappropriated. And a lot of times there could be a target of an officer that's been waiting for an excuse to get that guy. And finally they have an opportunity. Okay, now I can charge him with this because he's a gang member, even though it's shower security. Shower security does not require gang membership. But like you said, it's being written up as a gang activity. But in fact, a lot of these aggravated assaults are gang affiliated. A lot of them are ordered hits. A lot of them are gang fights and gang robberies, and they're not being written up as gang activity. They should be. So just to reiterate.
And if that, here go Mike, if that double OG had not had security, we got to look at the ripple effect. He goes into the shower by himself. He's then attacked. That puts every correctional officer, that's a riot. That is, as so many lives are at stake. And that correctional officer, who I believe serves well, does their job and do their best to protect themselves and those inmates. But simple shower security, and you may not agree with it, also could be looked at as preventing lives. If someone with that status would have got harmed in that shower, those would have been lives, because that doesn't go unanswered. And all I'm saying is, if we got to sit down and I'll talk to them. So when me and Mary and Carr go out to work out, and we all believe in this faith, is that no one's walking alone in these institutions, and the ones that are, we heard from their mothers. So it's a bigger ordeal from that. So, taking a year from someone with that status and giving the other ones verbal reprimands, that's a ripple effect that can endanger correctional officers as well.
Dr. Corpus, did you have a comment?
I had a question and then a comment. I note that this person had 13 priors.
Mhm.
Did the people who were reprimanded have 13 priors?
Jerry, you're faster than me.
I'm not on.
I'm not on it. I don't recall. I believe, I don't know, the 13, the thing is about the 13 priors, in my humble opinion, I didn't see.
Sorry, I didn't answer your question, Amy. Sorry about the first one at 0.
Zero,
The
okay,
first guy.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you, let's see,
I have a question. What were you talking about, Lee, that you said that PGAs get blanked out on? What's that?
On,
Like LPP doesn't have anything?
yeah, it'll be
And why are
one.
they doing that on this?
They're doing it because I think they're rethinking CGAs, but they haven't put it in policy.
So
So
you think they're like, oh, we don't want to take time?
they don't want to take time. They're taking the time on the knife and the assault, let's say.
And
What?
Eight or nine on the
we had
same.
8 or 9.
And they're,
So if I could continue.
Taking
we don't
away the
take
time
the
that
other.
was taken.
yeah, they're, like, if they took 12, they're blanking it out.
Go ahead, Dr.
We
Thompson.
keep alluding to this discussion that's going to transpire in the future with regard to this case or Mr. Carr's table cases, my table cases from last month. And I would like to state that because what we're discussing has to do with deliberating substantive guidelines with regard to this board, I do not believe that that discussion can be held outside of public view, and that the public has a right to hear that discussion, whether it's within the January public meeting or we have a second meeting. Last year, we had several work groups where we came in for hours on end, and we live streamed that so the public could watch our discussion. And I really feel that this discussion, if it's to transpire, whether January or whenever, has to be one that's open to the public. Not necessarily that they can comment, but they have the ability to watch and listen what we're talking about, because we're not talking about administrative duties. We're talking about substantive guideline duties and how deliberation will be made within this board. And I do feel that that has to be open to the
Or, you had something, brother?
Huh?
You had something?
No.
Are you?
He answered the question.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, call the question.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, well, why don't we do one motion, the first motion on the loss of credit docket. I think we're gonna be voting on all of those instances where your docket has time being withdrawn. And we are removing from that docket incident number 1693769.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes,
I said, that's just all. This guy has 13 incidents. He's affiliated gang member. I do not think he should be nominated for peace of the Peacemaker Award. I don't think he's a good person. I just don't think this one merits that. I want to make that clear for the record, for the public. I'm not saying this guy is obviously you don't get to where he is by being a nice guy, but it's just across the board. I just think we can't spread the PGA. I think we'll get dangerous with that. I just don't think this was an incident. If it was a B, if it was a warning, if it was 3 months, but I think to take a year, I don't care who it was. So I just want to make it clear that I don't think this guy is, the Bible said, blessed are the peacemakers. I don't think this is, his record shows that. I just think this incident didn't merit a year.
okay. So we would entertain a motion on just the withdrawal incidents. Anyone want to move for that?
Can I craft a motion
Sure.
to approve his document minus the 2 cases?
Well, that's what I wanted to be clear on the case where we're granting the time back, the PGA discussion. Are you pulling that, Mr. Lindsay, and asking for that to be put on your January document? Or are you asking for a vote on that today?
I'm asking for a vote today. Unless we vote today.
Okay, so we can either do 2 votes where we're voting on each docket separately, the withdrawal docket and the grant docket, or we can vote on the entirety of the docket, but I think,
As to not elude his entire caseload,
yeah,
I make a motion to vote on that individual case or the PGA case in my
first, vote on that one first, and then you want to take up the rest of the incidents after that.
second motion for that. Yes.
Okay, so your motion is to move for a grant of incident number 1694132
Correct.
or a denial of that same incident.
Correct.
Okay, do we have a second?
Tell me again the motion.
The motion is for just the PGA incident that we've been discussing, whether the board,
Vote to restore the 12 months.
yes, whether the board agrees to Mr. Lindsay's proposal that we restore 12 months in that incident, or not.
The aim was that they
And they need this denied. That incident is.
So that, I thought he was gonna discuss this with
Right.
PDOC.
I'd like.
I just asked him, I said, do you want?
Oh, okay, he just wants it up or down.
Yeah, that's.
I'm
what-
sorry.
what it is.
Make that again, make the motion again. How we gonna
The
vote?
motion is whether the board approves, Mr. Lindsay's, incident, the PGA 1694132. His recommendation is that we restore 12 months of credit to that inmate.
EA would restore them back in the,
EA would restore the 12 months to the
neck.
inmate, and they
No.
would deny it. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Okay, let's move to a vote. I'm gonna do a roll call vote, because we have some people online, and it might be difficult. I don't know how close the vote will be. Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Bassline,
No.
Mr. Carr,
No.
Mr. Lindsay,
Yay.
Dr. Carpos,
No.
Ms. Wiseman,
No.
Mr. Frank.
No.
Ms. Doyle? How would you vote, ma'am?
No.
Okay, so the motion fails. So we will not be restoring the 12 months to that inmate in that instance.
Democracy. Second motion would be to approve Christopher's docket.
Second.
Minus the case of 1693769.
Great, thank you.
So
Do I have a second on that? Second. Any discussion? Okay, I think we can just do a voice vote on that. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. Okay, hearing none, that motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. One last thing, any trends or issues that you noticed this month? I mean, obviously, we talked about gang activity quite a bit. Anything else that you wanted to either relate to TDOC or you'd like just the group to recognize?
Now, I want the group just to recognize that, my session is longer than their cars this month, so.
That is true. It's true.
And I thank all y'all for, and, that was good, so,
Very good. Okay, great. Thank you very much for that. Moving on to our next presenter, Dr. Carpos.
Okay, so this month, or for the month of October, those are the cases that were provided to me. I reviewed 216 disciplinary. 31% resulted in dismissal. And as we've spoken several times, there's a pretty high rate of dismissals associated with these Class A's. 31% are assessed as not being okay or falling within the guidelines of the matrix. And I have a few cases that I would like to present prior to discussing my docket. So last month I indicated that for me, I felt that there was an extremely violent set of assaults that are occurring, that it has become a recurring theme across all 14 of the state and 4 civic management prisons. And that many of these assaults are being downgraded or dismissed. And there are some other pretty serious cases, apart from assaults, that are being downgraded or dismissed. I want to highlight one dismissal in particular. This one happened at Hardin on October the 15th. It was dismissed with no hearing, and this had to do with an offender who was found with 237 grams of marijuana, which is the equivalent to a half a pound.
I'm sorry, Dr. Carpos. I'm sorry, we have one person online. If you could mute yourself, it may be 615-772-6564. You got some feedback coming through. Thank you very much. I'm sorry.
No problem. And so, usually when I read Graham, I have to quick do some math, and probably some of you are that way as well. So just to put it in context, 237 grams of marijuana is the equivalent of 450 to 500 joints. And I'm concerned that that particular case was dismissed with no hearing. There was no future write-up of it, so it wasn't as if it was rewritten. That's a tremendous amount of contraband coming into a facility. So just concerned, that that would simply be dismissed. Also dismissed was what I would probably call a strong arm robbery. And it had to do with a victim who had just picked up his commissary, it was all caught on video. And two offenders approached him, slammed him to the wall, took his commissary and walked off. And this happened at Blackville. And the write-ups occurred, but once again, dismissed with no hearing and no rewrite. So very concerned that some very serious things are happening within these two core civic facilities, Hardeman and Whiteman, or Whiteville. And if the cases are dismissed, then this board never has an opportunity to be able to review and perform oversight. And so I think with a dismissal rate overall of 31%, going into the next year, we really do need to think and possibly have some discussions with regard to some guidelines or some suggestions about how we're going to address some of these very serious cases that are occurring, but we're not having an opportunity to review them in any meaningful way because they didn't result in a hearing.
Did you contact them to see what they did?
Well, Mrs. Wiseman, I think that's a really important point. And I listened very closely to some of the earlier discussion, and I certainly would not want to intervene in any board members' appointed duties. If they feel that they would like to contact and have a discussion with TDOC personnel, D-board personnel, or whomever they would like to contact. However, perhaps I have a little different perspective because I do feel as an oversight board that my particular responsibility is to read the cases assigned to me, make recommendations associated with that by creating my docket. I distribute that docket to all of the board members and to the executive director and staff so that they can prepare for this meeting. But I'm troubled that one or more cases from my docket this past week was shared with the agency that we're performing oversight on before I'd had an opportunity to present that case in the public meeting. And so while I don't dispute any board member's ability or right to contact whomever they might like to contact, I do dispute the right of any board member to take items from my docket and share that with the agency that we're performing oversight on before I present my docket to the board for their decision.
Are you talking about the dismiss case?
No, I'm talking about a case that appears on my docket. It's a restoration request. It has to do on the second page of what's been printed out. Well, the third page, sorry about that. It's on the third page, and it has to do with the case at Whiteville, where the D board entered a conviction and entered 73 months for sentence removal. And I had asked that 72 of those 73 months be restored to the offender. And I think it's troubling not only that someone was, that a board member would take information off of my docket and share it with the agency that we're doing oversight on, but it was also troubling to me that I sent this information on Wednesday afternoon, and I now know from a series of emails that were shared with me finally at my request late yesterday afternoon that early Thursday morning, that case was sent over to TDOC. And it was an email, which is fine to craft an email, but I don't understand why I was left off of that email, particularly since it's a case on my docket.
Well, to get back to my question, because I don't know anything about that, but do you think we shouldn't be contacting them for information? Like, why was this dismissed and that type of thing?
I don't have a personal opinion about how any other board member wants to conduct their inquiry or how they obtain that information with regard to their cases.
You don't,
I don't personally do that. I feel that my obligation is to bring the information to the board, and then the board may defer it, table it, suggest that it be sent over for further information, as we've done on several other cases for many of the preceding months.
May I get a response to that, sir?
Yes, so,
Okay, Dr. Carpos, on that case, your case was, excuse me, was not shared with TDOC. I was looking over your submission, as we're supposed to, as board members, we review all these together. And I saw the 73 months, which is 72 given back. And immediately I'm thinking that's given 6 years of good time back. And obviously it's a typographical error. So I requested the 1834 form, which is the written document that would show how much time was taken away. So I would have something to be able to talk to you. I received that Monday evening, and my plans were to discuss that with you this morning. But nobody is going in and tampering with your cases, and it was not even discussed with TDOC. I requested 1834, and I have a copy of it.
So if I may, I would like to read the email response from TDOC. Let me look at this. So the initial email was sent, and I notice it includes you, and you did ask for some information with regard to a case. And you received an email response back from, was it Linda Thomas? Linda Thomas sent an email back. Perhaps you could read that email into the record. Thank you.
Okay, it's hi, Michael, attached on CR 3298 and CR 1834 display pack. After reviewing the pack, it appears the DHO will make recommended 1 month loss of credits, which was within the matrix based on the offender's history. No disciplinary history in the previous 18 months. The DHO correctly entered 1 month loss on the CR 3298, which they did. I have a copy of it. In page 2 of CR 1834, and on the Class A sanction worksheet. However, the DHO made a clerical error, when entering the sanction in Thomas, they entered 73 months. The commissioner designee approved 1 month loss of credit, and we have corrected the sanction in Thomas. That the DHO recommended on their paperwork, and the commissioner designee approved.
I thank you for that. So subsequent to receiving this, and I say again, I'm not on any of these email threads. Some of you are on these email threads, but subsequent to that, I was contacted and asked if I would alter my docket and remove this case from my docket. Are you aware of that, Mr. Bassman?
Yes.
And so I say again, I feel that my docket should not be tampered with and should remain intact until I present it to the public. And if questions are going to be asked about my docket, and specifically correspondence with the agency that we do oversight on, that at a minimum, I should be included in any of that correspondence and have an understanding of the nature of that correspondence, given the fact that we are to perform oversight over the agency.
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, and I just want to be clear. Your docket wasn't changed, right?
Well, I was asked.
I'm sorry, that is a very simple
We're
question.
not,
Does the docket?
we're not in law school.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm
I'm
gonna
asking
answer-
you a question and I'd like
And
an
I'm
answer.
going to answer the question.
It's a yes
I
or no
was
answer.
asked 2 times to change my docket.
No, you weren't.
And I
And I'm
asked-
sorry,
and I asked-
Ms. Turner,
Listen, no.
is she talking about you?
Yes.
Did you ask her to change her docket?
If she wanted to change the number on.
You asked if she wanted to have the docket changed.
To have the docket.
Yes, no one asked you to change the docket. She asked you if you would like your docket changed. She's standing right here.
She asked me if I would be okay
Okay.
with it being removed from
And what
my
did you say?
docket. I said no on Monday.
And is your
and I
docket
said
changed?
no again on Tuesday.
Is your docket
And
changed?
it was only not changed because I said no on Monday
So it wasn't
and I
changed.
said no on Tuesday.
So nobody tampered with your docket.
I didn't say anyone tampered with my docket. What I said is very clear. My docket, or some of my docket, was provided to TDOC, the agency that we do oversight on, and they corrected the error prior to that case being presented in the meeting. And subsequent to that, I was asked on 2 occasions about whether or not I would be comfortable with now removing that from my docket. And I said I would not be.
And your docket was not changed.
My docket is not.
Okay, Mr. Lindsay.
I just, the word tamper for the public sake and for the integrity of the board, is that the word we want to use?
That's not the word I would use.
You didn't use, and
You asked me if my docket.
I heard that word several times.
yeah, I just think,
Yeah, I heard it several times.
like, and,
I said my docket was disclosed. Let me be very clear. What I'm uncomfortable with is this one very specific thing. When I share my docket with my fellow board members and with the staff of the board, I don't anticipate that without my knowledge, any information related to my docket would be shared with the agency over which we perform oversight prior to my public disclosure of my docket. That's
okay.
my concern.
For the public's view, and you see, my eyes usually not like this. I don't know what's happening. What I want to be careful with, I get calls from board members, cases. One of mine just got brought up. And we discussed those. And in all due respect, I just think that word tampering would be, it would challenge the integrity of our board. That someone is, that when I release my docket, someone goes to TLC and tamper with it. I just want, and not saying that, I just want to clarify that for the board. And I'm not for the public, and the public is present. Those that watch this after us, I think that tampering word is dangerous.
And I would second that. I mean, I oversee the dockets and the packets with the assistance of Ms. Turner, and we would never want to do something like that with someone.
And I get called.
That's very important.
Yeah, and I get called and, called, hey, did you see this? Did you catch that? We're a team, we watch each other back. And I just, as I'm sitting there and I'm just thinking like, and like I said, I heard it several times. I just think for the public's sake and the integrity of this board, can we use another word than tampering with? Because what I heard in layman terms, man, we got a mole on the board and people's files have been tampered with, and public will run with that, and we'll end up, it'll be a snapshot, 30 seconds. We just got to be careful
That
with
would never happen.
Yeah, and I know that, and I respect, and I know everybody on this board moves in integrity, and we watch out for each other. And I'm sorry that you felt that way. And my statement is no way to attack you. I just didn't want to close it with tampering with.
Well, I think we have one more comment.
I guess my point is this simply, and this is what I do, and I would hope that with the relationship we have with TDOC, they were charged a $73 fine, am I correct? And then they get 73 months on a drug charge, which is impossible. They can't do it. It's clearly an error. And I would just urge board members to contact TDOC. That's simply a clerical error. But 73 months would not be taken on a drug charge. And so, especially with no priors and those circumstances, so it just seems simple to me that we don't, we should utilize our relationship with these people to ask them questions and to help them grow and be better. So anyway, that's my point. It was clearly in there.
Yes, Mr. Lynn.
And going back, so that was that Mr. Dr. Carpos brought up, one guy getting his commissary taken, correct? One guy, you said it was strong arm robbery.
Mrs. Weissman asked me a question. I still have more cases.
Okay, we started off with the commissary being taken, that's, and then we shifted over there. With that young man's commissary being taken, we might want to go back to my motion of having commissary security, maybe. I'm just like, maybe he would have to like escort him. He would have, I'm so sorry, guys, I'm trying to lighten the room. No,
Can I make one last thing?
Sure.
Dr. Carpus, if I offended you, I apologize. There was no intention to offend you. When I saw the 73 months, I knew that there was an error, and I did not want us to accidentally give someone 6 years of credit back. We would be putting someone out on the street 6 years early, possibly. So, Brother Carr here can look, all I requested from TDOC was the incident number and a copy of the CR 1834. That's all I requested. I didn't say anything about the time or anything, because I knew it was a human error, and I wanted us to be able to knock that out today. And that there was no intention to try to undermine it.
And Mr. Bassbender, I certainly accept the genuine nature of what it is that you apologize for. I don't believe that you had any ill intent for me, and I appreciate you stepping up and doing that. Thank you so much. Now, I do have one other case that I'd like to highlight. I know it's holidays, everybody wants to go, but I want to talk about something that I think is extraordinarily serious. It has to do with incident number 1692576. This happened on October 9th, 2025.
Is that on the docket?
No, it is not on the docket because I've recently become aware of this.
Could you, I'm just gonna write down the incident number. What was it again?
1692576.
Okay.
And this had to do with the death of an offender. And this happened at Attorney Center. So again, on October 9th, 2025. Incident 1692576 did not appear on our incident list, nor was it assigned to anyone on this board. And so I'd like to read this case. This has to do with a deceased inmate, and I will call his name. His name has been mentioned on social media already. His name is Dustin Sims, and he was pronounced deceased. He was at Attorney Center, and the DEP, which was death pending, that should have appeared on our October cases, has now been changed to a DEH because he is a homicide. The death certificate was received on November 13th, 2025, confirming that the manner of death for Dustin Sims was due to homicide, multiple sharp force injuries. Upon completion of the investigation, it has been determined that on October 9th at approximately 9:36 a.m., while in Unit 4 Bravo Pod, offender proposed can I call his name in the public meeting or not? Is the assailant.
It's public record.
It's
I mean, it
public
becomes part of the public record. It's not,
Okay.
it's not
Offender
against.
Travis Richardson, 352-276, and offender Dustin Sims did emerge from Unit 4 Bravo Pod, cell 207, in a physical altercation causing Sims to fall to the floor while trying to fend off Richardson. During this altercation, Richardson pulled a homemade knife approximately 7 inches from the right pocket of his pants and pulled the sheath off of it. Richardson then proceeded to stab Sims with knife multiple times to his head, chest, ribs, and neck area. Sims got to his feet and ran from Richardson. Richardson followed behind him on the top walk, taunting him with the knife. Until he threw it into the trash can on the top walk. Give me a moment.
Would you like to take 5 minutes?
No, just a moment. Sims made it around the top walk and down the stairs where he laid down next to the officer's cage. Unit 4, Bravo Pond, Officer Justin Copeland witnessed the incident. Let us just stop for one moment and think how horrific for a staff member to witness it and to find himself in a position to not intervene. Copeland called for assistance at approximately 9:36 a.m. Responding correctional staff did lock down the pod and secure the area. Medical staff did attend the wounds of Sims until EMS paramedics arrived, at which time Sims was taken to Natchez Trace and Hospital in Dixon via ambulance, where he was pronounced dead. And then it lists a variety of people who were notified because of the death. And the offender is to be charged with a death offender homicide. It's my understanding this is a protective custody unit. So the notion that this murder happened in a protective custody unit goes back to what I said a few minutes ago when we were discussing Mr. Lindsay's case. And that is that we have seen month after month clear evidence that there is active gang affiliation and engagement all across these prisons. And that while we were worried about a gang leader, and I say that with respect, needing protection to take a shower, even offenders in protective custody need protection or can find themselves dead in a protective custody unit. Now, there is a disciplinary hearing for this, and the person was found guilty, and the disciplinary board rendered a decision of 24 months for this homicide. What I don't see is any referral to an outside court for prosecution, and I'm concerned that there's not a referral for an outside prosecution with regard to this. And this is someone who has quite a few priors, including assaults on other offenders, as recently as April. So I'm unclear. Two things about this person. I looked up his face sheet. He is someone who is STG confirmed. So I'm unclear how an STG confirmed ends up in a protective custody pod. And this person is also listed today as medium custody. And I don't understand how someone cannot have had their custody level changed, given their involvement in a homicide on October 9th. And we're sitting here, this is December 17th, and this person is still circulating in population as a medium custody person. So for the sake of the board,
But this wasn't assigned to any of us for review.
it doesn't appear on any of our cases. And so I do have grave concerns about how these cases are continuing to be pulled. And that I do think going into the new year, we have to come up with a more inclusive system that assures that we don't miss cases. This is an October 9th case. We're talking about October cases, and it wasn't listed on our master list, nor was it distributed to anyone. At a minimum, it should have been listed on the master as a DEP, death pending, but it isn't on the list.
Okay.
But I want to get to what I want to say about the docket. I'm not comfortable with 24 months being what's taken. We have people who expose their genitals, repeatedly expose their genitals and it as indecent, and they have 24 months taken away. I think this so far exceeds any of that. The 24 months is not sufficient, and I'd like everyone to look at the new matrix. I know we keep looking at this and we keep talking about this new matrix and whether it allows or doesn't allow us to take something in excess of 24 months. Is the new matrix in this book?
Yes, it should be, it's the first tab, so it's before we get to the cases, so it's tab 3.
And 3? Thank you. So I note at the top of the matrix, it says finding of guilt for offenses and includes rape, homicide, indecent exposure, will incur up to 24 months of removal. But I say again at the bottom where it says note in bold, the imposition of a harsher penalty shall be sustained only if the offense involves a death. This involves a death. And I don't think there's any question that there was a death or loss of life, given the fact that there is a certificate of death that says homicide. So I'm asking this board to take 36 months
But
And I'd
it's
like-
not on,
on this one case, yes.
okay.
Or you can table it or roll it or whatever you'd like.
Well, just for future reference, when we have cases like that, if maybe you could put them in another column and just say, hey, this one wasn't distributed to me, but kind of like you do, like you have there with the blank incident. That way everyone's got all the information right there. Because I mean, I got Kearney Center, I got the number, obviously I know we're talking about it, but it would just be easier if it's all right there on the thing. Because I don't know if everybody's writing down all the numbers.
We need to follow up to see if it was referred for custody. I'm sure it would be. I mean, I imagine it wasn't, but if we don't inquire on these things, then how do we know?
Well, it should be noted because it says RIC, or is it RIC?
RC.
Yeah, and there's no RIC noted.
We're seeing less and less of those.
Less and less of those.
Seeing less of them, it seems like.
I don't know if they're just not noting it.
I think that's what, I hope.
I think we just can't rely on numbers, is my point.
Were the victims?
Okay, so we've got, I think that's it for Dr.
No,
Carlos'
as a matter of fact, he
discussion
was
comments.
identified.
Did we have someone? Yeah, let's go to that comment and then we'll start the motion process
This
for
is
the.
somebody who, was at serious risk.
Did you have something?
So, but the guy that you didn't murder.
No, I'm just trying to see
He's
who
STG
wants to
confirmed it.
respond, because that's quite a bit. There's
Yes.
several things there, so. Finish all the comments and then we'll move into the motion section. Did you have a comment, Mr. Owens?
No, I was saying if, I was asking Dr. Carpos, was both of them affiliated? The alleged guy was Aryan Nation but the victim was not affiliated, correct? And you were concerned that the correctional officer witnessed it and didn't intervene?
No. I understand the procedures and protocols where they don't come out of the cage and do that until assistance comes. My point was how horrific for the officer to be a witness.
Okay.
So there are many victims related to this. Obviously, the person who's deceased, who was murdered, not only the officer saw it, the other offenders saw it. And if they didn't see it, they heard it. So there's a lot of victims in this scenario. I know this is, we're in a very somber business. These are very sobering cases. Christmas is supposed to be this very happy, joyful time. But I'm always reminded of the fact that when you're in prison, it's not a happy and joyful time for you. It's not a happy or joyful time for the staff. It's not a happy or joyful time for the victims in the community or for the family and loved ones. This particular business is one that doesn't take a break. It's 365 and it's serious every day. And while it's unfortunate that we're having to discuss something that may be stressful, to people who are listening, it's a very sobering reminder of how many people, as you were saying earlier, how many people are actually victimized when these kinds of things happen within a prison.
Yeah.
And it's contradictory because we think of a prison environment as being the most secure environment, except we're reading case after case after case that people are at tremendous risk.
And he went to protective custody, trying to get away from, allegedly getting away from that situation. And because of the PGA threats and stuff, he hired security or hired someone that wasn't an option. He could have still that. So it's just, it's unfortunate. That's just unfortunate. And I pray for him, his soul, and his family.
But I wanted to hear what.
Yeah,
Chairman
let's,
Westheim was gonna say.
let's hear from him.
And I don't have I can't give you an explanation on that. I can tell you that how Mr. Frank and I, pull the incidents is by have visually going down through Thomas. And as we all know, Thomas is not the perfect bird. But on mine, I do the first 10 days, then the second 10 days, and the third 10 days. Break up my 30 days in a month and 3 extractions. So I'm looking at the October extractions, and I've got 3 cases I pulled on the 10th, just 1 on the 9th, and there are 2 on the 8th, just going down. So either I just visually missed it, and I'm not saying I'm perfect, because I tried to note all the depths, or, and I've seen this, because I stopped at 10, so I don't look again from the 10th down. If they put it in Thomas after I pulled these 10 days, if they, whatever number they gave, then it would pop up and I wouldn't see it. But and again, our system's not perfect, but Lee and I discussed with the sentencing people at TDOC a way to try to get them to pull the Class A's. And the problem that they're having is, as we all know, Thomas is ancient. It should be in a museum. It's a dinosaur. The like WHK, even a lot of indecent exposures, different assaults, still show up when you look at them as like a C or a B. Well, when they try, the commissioner changed, I think, 29 cases up to Class A back in 23, trying to up this. Thomas, in showing incidents, as we all know, looking at them, it has showed that it's a B or a C. So when their extraction pulls, they can't get the A's or the B's. And we even gave them, where they like say, well, drug possession now is a PDR when it's actually when we do our conviction part of it. Well, it doesn't go into the system under the new code until after we acted on it. So the incident code is still showing up as a DPO instead of a PDR, and they can't figure out a way to extract it. So I don't know.
And I certainly can understand that difficulty, but my concern is if we continue to rely on visually going into Thomas at discrete periods of time, cases are going to be missed. And so it's appropriate to write a SQL query that would list the specific 3 alpha offense codes that this board reviews and request that through STS. And the beauty of that query is that it can be run, the results are back in literally seconds. And that query can be run multiple times to ensure that we're not missing particular cases.
And I agree. It would take a load off Mr. Frank and myself, because like I said, for just December, I'm already in 10 days over 650. So,
I would like to say, I feel very comfortable. There might be, if you things screw up as well. I mean, I feel very comfortable. I take my time and I spend a lot of time on it. And how that happened, I do not know, but I just want the public and everyone, I'm diligent about what I do. I go over it and over and over it. So, the TDOC on that situation, there's no doubt something happened there. They came in and backloaded it. I don't know what happened there, but actually, I'd like to know, I want that case and I want to look, see how that happened.
Well, how did you find out about it?
Yeah, how did you?
Actually, through social media, I find that social media keeps me better abreast of knowing how many homicides and assaults are going on in the prisons than looking in Thomas itself.
There was just like a,
And so once I saw it on social media, then I just went through the list of that particular facility and said, oh, okay, well, how many deaths did occur? And easily found it, and it was a DEP. Mhm. It was a DEP. And then over time, as it was investigated, it never went to a PIN pending investigation. It went from a DEP to a DEH. But you have to go in and repeatedly look at that. And I am concerned that social media is further ahead at having the information about assaults and deaths within prison. And I think that we have to position ourselves as a board to be able to be more contemporary in how we capture this information and how we request, other than being able to look at a few discrete screens in Thomas, how we get more fuller access to pending investigations and information regarding those pending investigations. Because the death certificate was received more than a month ago. So it's not as if the death certificate just came in and it just changed. The death certificate was received in November, early November. So this is a case that should have been on our radar, and whether it requires, even though we're in this month, going back in December and looking again in October and seeing how many cases we've missed in October, because now they're there. But I'm open to, whatever the suggestions are. I just think as a board, to be sure that we're reviewing all the Class A's and particularly homicides, we need to devise some strategies to be able to accomplish it.
Dr. Cobos, man, I'm gonna take myself as from a colleague saying I'm somewhat of the public. And for the public's sake, from what I heard was that board members overlooked a gruesome homicide. And I don't think that's the case. I think you said you found something on social media and you did your due diligence and you're brilliant with this. But I think, again, we have to be kept careful. The public looking at this, seeing that, oh, well, they're overlooking these homicides. So are you saying TDOC didn't put it up there, or our fellow board members overlooked and found? Because what I'm trying to make clear of is that the integrity of the board is not questioned to the public and Tennesseans. So was this a TDOC mishap, or was it a fellow board?
So when the cases, the incidents for October were assembled and then distributed to us as board members, that case was omitted.
Okay.
The case was omitted. Now, just to be clear, as Mr. Vestlander and I discussed, there's always the possibility of human error.
Yes.
But the case was entered into Thomas, and it went through its various iterations that deaths do, from death pending to once the death certificate is received to there being a confirmation. And in this case, it's a death homicide. But that confirmation came in early November. I believe the date was November 11th.
Okay.
And so my concern is that the process currently in place takes a look at a month's worth of cases at one period of time. But if we don't devise a strategy to go back and look at it at another period of time, then we will necessarily overlook some of those cases. That's not to cast any aspersions on anyone on the board. I'm
Yes,
suggesting
yes.
that we have an opportunity to improve how it is that we identify the full realm of cases that qualify for this board to review.
And Dr. Cobos, I understand that, and when I asked you, your follow-up clarifies that, but in the beginning, it doesn't, to me, I'm like, it's like a board member saw that and looked over it, and I'm just saying, we have public here, we have public there, and this is, to my humble opinion, the second time that the board has been called to the carpet on integrity, and I think we have to be careful with that as far as the public. Now, your follow-up explanation kind of clarified that. So, but I don't want Tennesseans and the public thinking that we are overlooking something as like a murder and a gross and it didn't get there. And it's because, well, like you just said. So I just want to be careful with that. And again, I'm not attacking you. I'm just hearing it and I'm looking around saying, if there was human error, we need a better system. We have intelligent people here. We can find a better system. The public doesn't understand the nuance of going throughout Thomas and talking back to TDOC. All they can leave in here with is that you looked over homicide or y'all missed it. And I just don't think that's fair to the public or the board. So thank you for that clarification. And I would look at you, but if you.
I understand. I'm sorry for your eye.
Yeah.
Okay, was that all?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Doug, did you have anything else on your docket?
No, I'd like to submit my dossier if I could.
Any comments, questions?
I was just talking to the chairman here. They asked Lewis and they give him all those particular codes to look that up. And he said he couldn't do it right now, but if we could ask him again, if they had written some way that he could look all those codes up and give it to us. And that way they could take a snapshot of that on October the 30th. And if anything's been vaccinated, should capture it. If they can do that. That's all. Yeah, they can do that.
Okay, great. Any other comments?
I'd just like to present my docket. So my docket for removal contains 64 cases. And of those 64 cases, there was a total of 347 priors, although I certainly defer to the discussion at some future time as to whether or not we count priors the same. The D board removed 381 months. My assessment is that 289 more months should be removed. That is my removal docket. Would you like to vote my removal docket?
I'd like to take it one at a time, if that's okay with everybody. Were there any questions about any of those cases?
Yes, I just don't mean to be the worried one. On Dr. Harpo's on 2 cases, and I'm going, what you're looking at is you're going to have your numbers out to the side, like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Number 41.
Okay.
It's an ASO. Is that the same as?
Trousdale.
Yeah, on that one, I know that, it showed up nothing on, there was no sentence entry on it. And you're taking 12, and that by the numbers, that is correct. But actually 44 below it is the same thing where it showed up, 0. They didn't put LPP in there. What you're running into when we do our sentence management sheets on, like, say, because the bad part is each homeless, what they put in on the sentences, the people in sentence management, that's not what they go by. They go by the paper sheets. So while Andy takes all the dockets and then puts it in arrangements, sends it to Mike does all his stuff, sends it to me, and we submit that. Well, then we'll get one where we didn't know that, like, say, TDOC had already taken 12 months. Because, since they didn't put anything, they may have took 12 months. Then it's showing up we're taking 24 months. We've run into that. So like on those cases, could we just double check? Because it is on the appeals board, we've ran into that several times where we doubled it. And it's, I don't know if it's human error. I'm going to say if it says no sentence entry, it probably was human error on the entering persons. But what, that's the problem we run into when we do our sheets, because the girls in sentence management just look at our paper sheets and just the paper sheets from the prison. So whatever it says on here, and sometimes we don't do it.
So if I understand what you're saying is that despite the fact that the Thomas screen for the disciplinary hearing indicates 0, that someone at TDOC actually provided paperwork to their internal sentence management,
Yes.
and that internal sentence management, in fact, took how many?
Well, they take whatever is on like the 1834 or,
So
actual
in this
documents.
case, because we're highlighting this one case, do you know how many they took?
No, I hadn't requested any of that. I didn't fill out that. That's your case. I figured that was your.
No, I wondered if you saw on one of the sentence credit screens that there was a removal. That's what I'm asking.
Why do you suspect that 0 should be something different?
Because they didn't do it, it doesn't show the $5 fine or any
Okay.
segregation. It's just sentence, sentence, no sentence extended.
Is what you're saying.
Well, no, it
It's
says
not.
it was guilty, but when you hit the sentence screen, it says no sentence extended.
Exists, which in my, when I mark those as pending.
Okay.
Because I'm saying they haven't gotten caught up on the paper.
But are
What I've
they,
seen.
like, when you go back later?
When I go back later, it's been added, yes. And if not, I say, hey, why is this still pending for 60 days?
So would you like this one removed and put into pending to see if
If that's-
some time generates?
Yeah, because now, they've even got the core civic prisons now where they're all live scanning them in central office. And Mike Ward gets on that. Well, we know that he told us we see lots of mistakes, but if we just ask like the actual sentence sheet, it should show us on, what the sentence was taken from the deep one. And that keeps us from accidentally like doing 12 to 24. And when you ask me, if I could look and see if it's taken away, I hate to say it, but the sentencing department is so far behind over there. They're running 4 to 6 months behind. So if you're not getting out, basically in the next 12 months, it's mandatory at 120 days. They have to go in and search all the paper and have an answer in 90 days if they miss something. But on these people that still have like 5 years, I've got some in here that I've been looking up. People have 55 months pending that has not been taken out because there's 4 ladies over there that look at that paperwork. That's it. And with the number of cases going through, they're behind.
So do you want to request the paperwork, or do you just want to hold off and see if it changes
But
next month?
if we could just ask for, the sentence form, then we'll know what it is on that. Because
Then I'm in agreement with you.
and actually, TDOC is going to give us the access to that. Mike has just put this system together. And the 4 civic prisons being independent had to buy a special license to be able to scan it into whatever system they're using. So he just got them online, and they have told us that we will have access. That way, while we're doing our case, we can actually just type in the Thomas number or the incident number, and it will bring up all of them, and even bring up like the matrix. Now, all the DHOs are required to fill out the matrix, and if it's in a class A and say it's 2 crackers, then that would be 5 to 8. They have to notate over to the side of the matrix what what they took, it was 5, 6, 7, 8 on there. They have to go down and put the amount of segregation. The system's nice, we just don't have it yet. So if we could just,
Are you asking that for both? of
Yeah,
the cases?
it-
So the one at Trousdale and the one at Turner?
yeah, and actually, I'm good with Dr. Carpos's cases. I just, well, and we could get the answer problems. Like,
And you said,
that way, when we do our management sheets, if they actually put 12, and Dr. Carpos is suggesting 12, that we won't end up taking 24 by accident.
sure. And Dr. Carp, you be okay with adding those to the January docket?
Yes.
So we'll put those at that bottom.
Yes, there's no intent to try to take double from them.
Right.
I wasn't aware that TDOC was having that kind of a struggle to be able to keep up to date in sentence credits, nor, because to me, you identified a second difficulty, and that's this, that they receive a set of documents for the exact same incident that we're talking about, but they don't reconcile the letter from this board with the decision from that board. And it would seem to me that if they're to keep accurate time, they would have to come up with a process of being able to reconcile those two. But that's under TDOC's umbrella to do that. It's never our intent to try to do that. I certainly agree with you. I have no problem pulling those two.
Ms. Turner, did you get those two? Okay, great.
Motion to approve the docket.
Okay, minus those two?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Huh?
Any discussion?
Yes, I have 5 that need to be, rolled.
Okay,
It's number 1 and number 2 on Bledsoe that are outside the matrix.
number 1 and 2. I've only got one from Bledsoe.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 1 Bledsoe, the first one from, Hardeman.
Okay,
Could we take them one at a time?
I don't. It's a BSL. There were 0 priors. You took 12. That's outside the matrix.
Correct, and I'd like to speak to that.
I'm just asking to roll these until January when we're gonna have this discussion. Is that a problem? There's 5 of
Yes,
them.
I would like to discuss my docket. I brought the docket, and so let's talk about the first one is Bledsoe.
But VSL cannot speak, it's outside the matrix for you to do that, period.
Well, I understand we disagree on what the note at the bottom of the matrix means. And my interpretation of what's at the bottom of the matrix indicates that under certain extreme circumstances, in this case, the person was found with 30 Suboxone strips, 1.36 grams of meth, 2.31 grams of fentanyl, and 10.78 grams of liquid fentanyl. And just to put it in context, because I always have to do the math for myself, 1 gram of meth is equal to 1,000 milligrams. It's 5 milligrams of meth as a dose. And so for the meth alone, that's 270 doses of meth. For the fentanyl has a much higher amount of dosages. So what I'm saying is this particular violation of state law brought in such a substantial amount of contraband that the board's decision to only take 2 because the person had never been convicted of anything, to me, that's an extreme case and one in which we should consider applying the note at the bottom of the matrix.
okay, so that one you'd like not to roll.
I would like everyone to have a full understanding of why I asked.
And that's handled by the district attorney.
No, and I get that.
We are
It
looking
wasn't
at
referred-
priors.
It wasn't.
We're looking at priors.
But if we take
Then
them,
we're not following the matrix, and we've had our counsel tell us that if we're going to go outside the matrix, we will need to have a D board. And for some reason, you don't seem to understand that.
Well,
Mr.
well,
Frank, I do understand
Well,
that.
you're not listening to what our council has counseled.
well, Mr. Frank, let's
But
do this.
you're not hearing
Well,
it.
let's do this. Let's just, if we take them one by one, why don't you let us know if you'd like to roll it, that one, and then we'll go on to the next one. If you want to keep it, then when we vote on the docket, we'll be voting on that one as well. So for this first one, would you like to vote on it today, or would you like to roll it?
I'd like to vote on it.
Okay, so we're gonna keep that one in. Okay, so what's the second one, Mr. Frank, that you'd
It's
like
the
to?
Hardeman County, very first one. It's the DRS.
This is the one with the 237 grams of marijuana, which is the equivalent to a half pound, which is the equivalent to 450 to 500 joints. And I recognize that he doesn't have a prior, but I say that this is such a significant influx of contraband that it merits the utilization of the note at the bottom of the matrix.
And would you like to keep that today, or would you
I
like to? Okay, and Mr. Frank, your position is it's just outside the guidelines.
It's outside the guidelines.
Okay, what's the third?
It's the second one in Morgan. It's an AOW. It's a
everybody have
minor injury. It's not serious injury.
Wait 1 second, does everybody have that one?
Where is it?
It's an AOW.
Morgan, yeah,
169-3102.
Okay, on this particular case, it was an assault on an offender with a weapon. It's on video. And it shows a knife attack where the victim sustained a cut on the right side of his neck. And so the D board assessed 4 months and I assessed 12.
Okay, and Mr. Frank, you're
Assault
saying,
with an injury, assault with a weapon, and the victim was.
The video show, according to the incident, the video shows a knife attack and the victim presented with a cut to his neck. So I don't think he's not injured.
And what is it? Keep reading. Do you have it in front of you?
I don't know. I just have my
Let me
notes.
see.
do you want to talk a little bit more about why you want to roll it, Mr. Frank?
Because it's not serious injury.
Okay, did you want to look at anything from the tone and description on that, or? You got it?
No. The offender Hayes sustained minor cut on the right side of his neck. Was treated out on site by medical staff. And it says number 2 minor injury,
Okay,
and that is not a serious injury.
do you want to roll that one, or do you?
I
want-
do.
No, I want to vote.
You want to go like, okay, what's the fourth one, Mr. Frank?
The ASO from Northeast, number 2.
1692490.
Outside the matrix once again. There was no injury. There was a none on an injury. And the D board took 2 and she took an additional 4 to 6.
So this has to do with an offender who punched a sergeant in the right side of the face. The D board took 2 and I assessed it at 6 for punching a sergeant in the right side of the face. And I'd like to keep it on the docket for vote.
Okay, and the last one, Mr. Frank?
It's the 5th one in South Central. It's an AOO. Which one?
1692306
Yeah.
in South Central, so I think next.
0, they took 1.
I'm sorry,
and 6.
which one? What's the number?
South Central 1692306.
Okay.
And there was no injury on
It's
that
an
one.
assault on an offender. The assailant approached the victim, threw coffee on them, and then used his fist to strike the victim. This was witnessed by the unit manager.
Okay, and would you like to roll
And
that?
so I assessed 6 months.
Okay. And-
I would like to remain on the docket.
Okay, so let's start with this. We've got 5 that are up for discussion. We've all heard from Mr. Frank on why he'd like to have further discussion on those. We've heard from Dr. Carpus on what she'd like to vote on those today. We can do one of 2 things. We can either take those 5 as a group and vote on whether we are going to move them or whether we're going to approve them or deny them. Or we can take them individually. If one person's like, well, I like that one, I don't like that one.
As a group.
Okay,
Well.
okay, yeah, please.
The assault where they used a knife to cut someone, I think I think that's a serious injury. So I think that, to me, I understand some of his points, but I don't agree with that.
Okay, well then why don't we do this? Why don't we take those five incidents individually and we'll just vote on them quickly on an individual basis? Okay, so I would entertain a motion for that first one that got discussed out of Bledsoe, 1691646. It's a VSL, 0 priors. The B board took 2. The guidelines have it up to 12. The matrix has it up to 12. 0 priors, is that right?
No.
Right.
Yes,
It should be one
G,
to
the
two.
matrix column is my suggestion of the reading of the matrix.
Okay, okay.
The
But
D
Mr.
board
Frank is
column
saying,
is-
Mr. Frank is saying that for
the
0
D board is
priors,
right.
it would be 1 to 2.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
And Dr. Carpus is asking for an additional 10 months in that
That's
case.
correct.
Yes, Mr. Vick.
On that, I'd like to just make, I guess, a suggestion. I don't know if we've started the motion yet. I would like, on those, because the violation of state law, that's a class B felony. And with the priors he's got in the meth and the fentanyl and even the Suboxone, it's the class B, which is a minimum 8 years, is going to be enhanced. So they're probably looking at 10 to 15 with what they're looking at in, if it goes to court, which would be consecutive to whatever they're serving now. And the amount of marijuana, isn't that a C felony, Betsy, that amount?
I wasn't here for all of this. How much we are?
200 or something.
237,000.
Yeah, I think it's C.
Well, I was wrong.
Yeah, but it's, that would be a minimum 3 to 4 without priors.
2 to 4 without priors. Does he
Yeah.
have priors though? What is he serving?
See, no, it's just, well, see, I don't know as far as.
So is this, what's the suggestion?
If it's going to be prosecuted in state court, there's a lot of times that say on, just for instance, the first one, where we take 12 because we're enhancing it for the amount of drugs. Then when they get to criminal court, you got a defense attorney that argues to the judge, well, the disciplinary board's already taken a year of my client's time away from them, and sometimes some judges will say, well, if they took a year, we're going to give you 8 years to serve. And I just,
I'd like to see.
yeah, I'd like to, you know, if these criminal things, rather than do more time, let's just take.
Right.
I'd like to request, you know, just if there's a referral, because that's a substantial amount of drugs.
Well, that would require us to push the case in order to ask that question for voting. And I don't know if Dr. Carpus is willing to do that.
I just prefer an up or down vote.
But I think, I agree with Terry. I think a referral is always an improvement on just taking more credit.
Well, I don't think those two things are
Mutually exclusive. I know.
exclusive of one another.
He makes a good point, but
It may hinder some element of problem.
especially.
But I mean, if we're asking, if a board member's asking for a vote on something, I think it's fair to.
No, I know.
Sure.
I mean,
So,
vote it up.
Okay, so why don't we take that first one up? I think if someone wants to make a motion, to approve the recommendation or deny the recommendation on that particular incident, I'd be happy to entertain that motion.
Make motion, she wants to vote on.
Okay, so the motion is, to approve the recommendation of adding 10 months for that incident. Okay, is that seconded?
Second.
Second. Okay, I guess we'll do a roll call. I guess we could try, a voice vote and see if we can hear everybody.
This case is the assault on the neck.
No, this is the PSF.
PSL.
Do we need to review the facts of that case?
Sure.
Can we, what's the VSL?
Yeah,
Is
the
it the
BSL
drugs?
is 30 Suboxone strips, 1.36 grams of meth, 2.31 grams of fentanyl, and 10.78 grams of liquid fentanyl.
And which facility was this?
Bledsoe.
Bledsoe. And their grand jury is about every other month.
And do we know, has this been referred?
I don't know.
I mean, that's the thing is we need to have this information before the public meeting. I think the board members need to follow their cases.
And we have made some requests, but usually you have a waiting to hear back.
But off the top of my head, I don't know about all every
Well,
single.
but I mean, if someone doesn't ask all to check, he's not gonna know to check.
All right.
Their institutional investigators are very good at that, so too.
Yeah, I think the majority of these cases are going to be referred. To Dr. Carpenter's point, TDSU needs to do a better job of documenting that. Sure.
But when they don't, I think it's incumbent.
Sure. And we also, but we need to do a better job.
Any other discussion on that particular incident? Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Discussion's finished. All in favor
We're
of
voting to approve this.
to approve this, or if you vote nay, then not approve it, not approve the recommendation. All in favor, please say aye.
I
All opposed?
No.
Okay, I think I heard 5 names. Ms. Doyle? How do you
Nay.
vote, ma'am?
Nay.
I'm sorry, could you say it one more time?
Nay.
Okay, so I think I heard it 5
we
names.
just do roll call.
Well, we can. Ms. Doyle is a nay, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Bassfider? Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Lindsay? Mr. Wiseman? Mr. Frank?
Nay.
And Mr. Sheeran?
Nay.
Okay, so that is denied, so we're gonna remove that from the docket, okay? The next incident is the Hardeman incident, 1693221. Okay, that's the DRS. The D board imposed a 1-month punishment with 0 priors. And Dr. Carpos is asking for an additional 11 months for that incident.
This is the half pound of marijuana.
Okay, we can entertain a motion on that particular incident as well.
Again, I'd really like to know if it's gonna be prosecuted, and this guy actually is a lifer, so it's not. But if we give him 5 more years consecutive to his life, then it's better than just 12 months. You know, I don't want drugs coming into facilities. That's, you know, I've dealt with that. But I just want to know, I don't feel comfortable voting unless I know the district attorney has said, oh, different, but I'd like to know.
I know you would, but it's Dr. Carpos, it's not, she's asking for a vote, so. You can vote however you want, you can abstain if you want, I suppose. Okay, I'll
Can I
entertain a
make a
motion. Yeah.
Yeah, I just make a motion that, this removal of time be approved.
Okay. Do I have a second? Seconded? Okay, let's do a roll call. I'm sorry, any further discussion? Okay, Ms. Doyle, yay or nay on that motion?
Nay.
Nay, right? Well, maybe we could do a yes or no,
Or abstain.
or abstain. I heard a no, Ms. Doyle, is that right?
No.
Okay, Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
okay, Mr. Vasquez,
No.
Mr. Carr,
Yes.
Mr. Lindsay, Ms. Wiseman, Mr. Frank?
No.
Mr. Sheeran?
Nay.
Okay, so that motion fails. All right, we're gonna remove that from the docket. Okay, the next one is Morgan, I believe. That's the assault with weapon, 1693102. 1 prior, D board recommended or took away 4 months. And Dr. Carpos is asking for an additional 8 months to be withdrawn. Any recap or refresher? The
This
name
is
was
the cut, using a knife to cut, the inmate's face.
Okay.
Caught on video.
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion on this incident? Okay, Ms. Doyle, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would like to make discussion. And I understand the going back to matrix, but actually on this one, if whatever we go out of the matrix, the 12 is not gonna make any more difference than the 4. This is another life. So, you know, it's not gonna make any difference.
But he did use a knife to cut
He
someone.
did use a knife.
And do we know the extent of the injury?
It was minor. He was treated in-house.
But what I'm saying is whether
I
it's,
understand what you're
yeah,
saying.
for 12 or 24, it's, you know,
Life, right?
he's a lifer, so.
Right.
I just,
An aggravated assault.
Yeah.
one last thing, and I'll reiterate this, I'm very concerned about, I'm concerned about our board and ever putting our board in jeopardy. That is my concern. I've been advised, and how you choose to vote is up to you, but that is my concern, is that we've been advised about this, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, Ms. Doyle, yes or no?
no,
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Rassfinder,
No.
Mr. Carr,
Yes.
Mr. Lindsay,
No.
Dr. Carpos,
Yes.
Ms. Wiseman.
No.
Mr. Frank,
No.
Ms. Sharon.
Yes.
Okay, that motion fails. Okay, we're gonna take that one out. Okay, the next one is Northeast, incident number 1692490. It's the ASO, 0 priors, disciplinary board took 2 months. Dr. Carpos is requesting an additional 4 months. This is,
When the sergeant was put in the right side of the face.
Motion approved.
motion, seconded, any discussion? Okay, let's move to a vote, if not hearing any discussion. Ms. Doyle,
no,
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Bassfider,
Yes.
Mr. Carr,
Yes.
Mr. Lindsay,
Yes.
Dr. Carpos,
Yes.
Ms. Wiseman,
No.
Mr. Frank,
No.
and Ms. Sharon.
Stay.
Okay, the motion passes. So that one, Ms. Turner, can you mark that one as, we're gonna make an action form, asking for an additional 4 months? And the final,
He was given 2 and what was his prior?
0 priors,
0 prior, and they gave him 2.
yes. And we're adding 4.
4. No.
Okay. And we have 1 abstain. So the motion doesn't pass because it's 4-4. Okay. So I'm sorry, Ms. Turner, go ahead and scratch it. We're going to remove that from the docket. Okay. And our final one is the South Central discussion. And correct me if I'm wrong, incident number 1692306. Is that right? The AO.
1692306.
The AOO.
0 priors, D board took 1 month. Dr. Carpus is requesting an additional 5 months.
Sorry, can you tell me again what facility?
South Central, it's the last one, the last South Central. AOO. Any recap or refresher on that one?
This is the one where the assailant threw coffee on the victim and then used his fist to strike the victim, witnessed by the unit manager.
Okay. Entertain a motion on that one? Motion made,
Second.
seconded. Any discussion?
Can you give me the prior one?
0 priors,
0. They gave him 1 month.
1 month,
You're right. She's asking for
additional
additional
5 for a total of 6.
it's total. So no.
And on the incident report, it is deleted as a no.
Any other discussion? We're going to move to a vote. Ms. Doyle, yes or no, ma'am?
no,
Okay. Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Bassfider, Mr. Carr,
Yes.
Mr. Lindsay,
No.
Dr. Carpos,
Yes.
Ms. Wiseman,
No.
Mr. Frank,
No.
and Ms. Sharon. So that motion fails. So we will remove that one from the docket as well. So when it comes to the removal docket, we have the remaining docket that you see before you, except for the 2 incidents that we previously discussed that we're going to roll over to January. Okay, I would entertain a motion to
Motion to approve the document.
the rest of that the rest of that document. Was that the second? Okay, any discussion on those? Okay, I think we can move to a voice vote on that. All in favor of approving that removal document, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Okay, let's move on to the restoration docket. I see 2 incidents there. Is that right, Dr. Carbush?
That's correct, and according to the information that we have now received from the Department of Corrections, the clerical error has been corrected, and so I would ask that you remove Whiteville
Okay,
from the docket.
so that leaves 1 out of Northeast that we be voting on for a restoration. Okay, does everybody see that? On that 3rd page?
The person has 0 priors, the board took 3 and adjusted it to 2. So the offender would get 1 month of credit returned to them.
Okay,
Motion to approve.
motion made. Seconded. Any discussion? All in favor of approving that restoration docket, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And then the next docket is the pushover docket with the addition of the other 2 we discussed. And then we have one more, I see, Dr. Carpos, the blank incident.
Yes, it's just one that I would refer back to TDOC
Okay.
so that they can see what should be written in on that blank incident.
You'll do
Did I
that?
make a mistake?
Yes.
My computer's dead. Dr. Carpos on that one, when I was looking that case up,
Wait, which one was the blank one?
the blank one, it's actually, it was a rewrite. They rewrote it. Mr. Lindsay got the new rewrite.
So we can remove it because it is on
It is-
Mr. Lindsay's
yes,
October document?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
It was a rewrite. And,
Perfect. How you tell when it's a rewrite?
well, actually, they were having a lot of trouble. It had that same case 3 times in a row, and 2 of them were blank, and finally they got it filled in right.
3 times the charm.
Yeah.
You have like cases or is the way I?
Okay, great. Any other comments? We'll wrap up that discussion. Okay, moving on to our next agenda item, Mr. Sharon.
Yes, and I'll be brief. So, last month I had 152 cases, which included 215 inmates. I still have 10 cases pending. We talk about trends, 6 of those 10, I think, are South Central. I don't know what's going on in South Central, but last month and this month, they have a lot of cases pending and a lot of cases that they're dismissing. So the next time you guys meet with them, and maybe we all meet with them, I figure out what's going on in South Central. It seems kind of messed up. Of the cases that I reviewed, 18 were listed as Bs, which is a pretty high number in my estimation. 2 of them were Cs, which is interesting.
Is that allowable? The A, B, or C? Did you see on that?
I don't know why they're Cs. I don't know if it's,
But they could do that. That's not outside of.
I would think it's
policy.
outside. No, yeah,
Just
I
an
could-
error.
It's outside of policy.
Yeah,
So
right,
can
it could be.
you send me?
Yes, I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I've sent in 9 requests for more information on cases that were dismissed. This month, TDOC took 718 months of sentence credits from inmates that I reviewed with under 59 years. After careful review, I've found 16 errors. I'm recommending 96 months of additional sentence credit reduction and the reinstatement of 4 months of sentence credits. After speaking with the depot sergeant about one of those cases. Prolific offenders, chronic offenders, Mr. Stahl, I had 1, his SOMAS ID number 613793, and 27 prior Class A offenses in the last 18 months. And another one that was really, that had a lot, his SOMAS ID number is 580828. He had 22. I should say he or she had 22. Class A. Like I said, South Central continues to have some issues. Hardin County has a lot of cases that they've documented that were never sent to the D board for whatever, it still blows my mind. And Morgan County still seems to have to be designating a lot of their cases as Bs, which seems to have happened in the last couple of months. That's all I have.
On those cases that were the Cs, what were those at?
I'll send it to you.
All right, I'm just curious if that's Morgan as well, if you're noticing.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on Ms. Sharon's presentation?
Question?
Yes. Oh, calling the question? Okay. All in favor of approving the docket in total, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, pass unanimously. Thank you. So anything else?
Just to answer your question, Whiteville had one of the Cs, and I'll send it to you.
Okay,
And then the special needs facility, at the other.
okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on, Ms. Wiseman, you're not.
Okay, I've got two dockets, because I wasn't here last month, and we just held my September docket over, but starting, because it's laid out in the packets, we'll start with October. And, I didn't have too many, they were straightforward, pretty much. My first, it was pointed out to me that I don't know where I got that, but that's, can we strike the very first one with Bledsoe? And I think I sent an email to you guys last night. Just wrong, it was just wrong. But, Hardin County seems to always be a recurring one, at least this month. And Morgan County, I've had more from them too, they're just wrong. But other than that, the D board took 61 months on these incidents that I picked out where under the matrix should have been 108. And so that's an additional 47 months that took away, and that did restore 8 months on one from West Tennessee, where they had taken 12, and with one prior, it should be just 4. Do you guys want to vote on October?
Yeah, let's take each document. Yeah, that'd be great.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion on that October docket? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving Ms. Wiseman's October docket in total, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Pass unanimously. Thank you, ma'am.
And then September, begins, got several from Morgan County and several from West Tennessee this time. This one's laid out a little bit differently as far as the headers, but, D board's up 51, and under the matrix, I'm recommending taking 92, the difference of 41 extra months to be removed. I'm granting back 18 months on 4 separate cases where they were outside the matrix. I really don't have anything else to say.
Okay.
Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, any questions, any issues? Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of moving Ms. Wiseman's September docket into the record, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, passing unanimously. Thank you, ma'am. And next up is Mr. Dunn.
Yes, sir, thank you. Again, I have 2 dockets because I was also absent last month. Was dropping off a Marine in Virginia and picking up the airport here in Nashville last evening, Christmas. So, as I previously communicated to Director Stahl, first time in my life, I had to say, go Navy. Because now I'm of the Marine who's under the Department of Navy. So, glad for that. So anyway, with all that said, I believe the second page is the previous docket from last month. It's 97 credits to be removed. I believe, Brother Lee, all of these are within the frame. Proper sanctions to be taken. And most of these are, they have high amounts of previous priors, and they're given a lenient sentence. And I just don't agree with that. If they're acting violent, they should lose good credits. So that's perfection for that. Long story short, 97 credits to be removed from that second page.
August. Okay.
Motion.
Yeah, no.
So moved.
Motion,
Second.
move seconded. Any questions, issues with the August Dunn docket? Hearing none.
The docket.
Okay, all in favor of approving in total, Mr. Dunn's docket for August into the record, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none. That's, thanks, sir.
Previous page would be the recent one submitted for this month. Again, same situation. And again, both of those months had a high infestation of cases that are incomplete or changed to Bs. And I'd like to get to the bottom of that later. But again, all these are recommended sanctions, and several of them have too many priors, in my opinion, to receive a light sentence for being violent. So 79 months to be removed,
And no restoration.
no restoration.
Can I make a comment? on
Yes, please.
that? And I apologize that my computer's dead,
Yes, sir.
but either on your docket or the ASO, Mr. Lindsay's docket, and the ASO, because both y'all's came in, and I just looked at them real quick. When I went back to the sentence attributes, besides what you keep on, you know, I don't know what you're like,
I'll get you if you need to.
but, they did, the warden did a 2-year sentence extension on that ASO besides that, so it actually ended up being larger than that.
Okay.
Plug in your computer if you want to use it.
Well, they say that.
Okay, okay. Thank you. No, that's very good. Okay. Anything else on, Mr. Dunn's September doc?
Motion approved.
Motion made,
Second.
seconded. All in favor of approving the docket from September in total, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that passed unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Okay, and we are on to our final presenter, Ms. Doyle.
All right. I want to thank y'all for allowing me to not be there today. And all your prayers. I really do appreciate it. I still need them. So just keep the prayers coming, because this is becoming a lot harder than I ever thought hospice would ever be.
You got it.
So I have a quick docket so y'all can get out of there. I'm sorry for those that have to drive back. I brought, 11 cases. Sorry, I didn't count ahead of time. 11 cases, for, taking, away credits. So it was, the matrix 94. I took an extra 37. Then on the grant times, the matrix was 66. They took 103, and I granted back 61. Also in October, I had, 14 changed to Bs that were okay being changed to Bs. I have 8 pending, 2 guilty verbal warnings, and 69 dismissed and 5 no reports. I had 225 cases total.
Ms. Doyle, if you send me those incidents with the verbal warnings, I'd be happy to let TDOC know that that's an issue and not supposed to happen. So if you just send me that information on those,
I'll do that.
thank you. Anything else on your docket? Any trends or issues you'd like to discuss?
No.
Okay.
I have a question about the verbal warnings. Did you include those in the not okays and then take time based on their priors?
No, I did not include them because I did not know that we were supposed to do that. I'm sorry. I had not.
No,
No.
no, that's my question, because that's what I do, but what does everybody else do? Maybe I'm not supposed to be doing that.
The policy is basically just like law enforcement, where it's officer discretion. The policy, and this is verbatim, that the correctional officer has the right to issue a verbal if the inmate was compliant and was not violent, and give the verbal warning. Kind of like if a state trooper pulls you over and says, you were beaten, but I'm going to give you a warning, it's discretion. So it's really up to us.
So is the board just kind of letting the verbal warnings stand in lieu of taking time?
Yes.
But
May have told me that before, but I don't do that
the
at all.
verbal warning is a prior after, then it doesn't.
The next time.
The next time it's prior.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that, Heather. You did it right.
But Mr. Vestbinder, I do wanna say something that's coming from the borough board in seeing that you have to look at the verbal warnings because they don't give them a class
Okay,
in TDOs, I mean, in Thomas. That verbal warnings aren't classed, not all the time. So just make sure you're looking at whether it's gone to an A or B.
okay, thank you.
So we have to like look at the incident and the charge.
Was this vote supposed to? So policies.
Okay, great. If there's no further discussion on the incidents, we could take the docket as a whole, the withdrawal and the restoration docket, if everybody wants to do this. There's a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion seconded for the entirety of Ms. Doyle's docket. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving both dockets from Ms. Doyle, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, great, passing on, so thank you very much. Okay, the last tab in your book shows the incidents that we're tracking to discuss again in January. Most of them, I think, are Mr. Carr and Dr. Carpos. Do you guys have any issues with those? Do we need to change any of that back there? Okay, great.
Have we scheduled a date for that meeting?
Nope, that we're gonna do that in closing notes. So, I mean, we can do that now if you want. We have two more things. We have public comment period, and then we have closing notes. So let's go ahead and knock out the public comment period real quick. We have someone online. I see a phone number 423-341-3291. Ma'am or sir, do you have any public comment for us before we finish our meeting?
No, Counselor, it's Bud Halsey. Just interesting to listen in. I probably will correspond with you at a later point, but thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yes, and we have one member of the public here with us, sir. If you want to introduce yourself just quickly.
Sure. My name is Tim Leeper, and I appreciate being invited to the board. It's been interesting to hear. Just a very brief background for me. My son passed in a CoreCivic facility in Troutdale Churches in October 2023. He passed from fentanyl overdose, but the funny thing is, drug addicts don't work out 5 or 6 days a week. They don't call their parents to check in to make sure they know they're not on lockdown, they're safe, and they don't eat incessantly. Very well, very good shape whenever we got him at the funeral home. And I would just like to say, and just go on the record, fentanyl is a sneaky drug. It's been used in our correction system quite a bit. And more times than we might want to acknowledge, fentanyl is potentially and allegedly, from families that I have spoken with, being used to unalive people. And so I want to go on record and make sure that everybody understands that those things are happening. And I just want to say thank you for your time. I appreciate it's been informative to kind of see how things work. I'm gathering information, all things corrections. This is going to be something I do for the rest of my life. You know, there are 2 days in a person's life, a man's life, that are of significance. And the first day is the day that he's born, and the second day is the day that he finds out why. And the day that I laid 2 hands on my son's coffin before I put him in the ground is the day that I found out why. And so I'll do this until God gives me no more breath. I feel like that, you know, we do have some real issues in our prison system, and I intend to live out the rest of my days dealing with those things. And I want to say one more thing as I close. Dustin Sims, I spoke to his mom and Spence Barton. And as I speak to many families who have died in our prison system, and I'm not sure if we're aware of it, but the state of Tennessee has over 2.3 times the national average for prison mortality rate, much higher in CoreCivic facilities. And as I talked to his mom, as I have several others, because they reach out to me because I passed legislation last year, they're concerned with some of the things that can be done. And so the violent nature of this specific death One of the COs I knew was a friend of mine. We played ball together. He called to tell me, said that's one of the most gruesome videos that he ever watched, and he wished he had never seen it. And I don't know how it correlated in all this, and this is not my job, but I just only say this to say that the level of death and human suffering in our Department of Corrections is a very grave concern to me, which is one of the reasons why I'm here today. And I hope that in time that, we will begin to, look potentially differently, with a different lens as to what we're doing with the men that we have incarcerated, because over 90% of those men are coming back into our communities. And so if we're warehousing them and not giving them the tools that they need, it's difficult. I understand this is not what this board's about. Just understand this is my overall search to understand some of these things. So thank you for allowing me this public comment.
Thank you for being here. Any questions or issues and responses to that? Well, thank you for being here, sir. We always appreciate your stories and your participation. And if you have any questions about how we do what it is we do, I know today we really do a great recap of how we get to these decisions and all that. But if you have any questions, please reach out and let us know. We can give you a little more about what exactly it is we're discussing and how we sort of got to it. We appreciate your involvement, and I'm sorry. I'm some, so that's can't imagine anything harder. Anything else? Okay. The last agenda item is closing notes. Ms. Wiseman, you brought up next month's meetings. Do we want to discuss a date for that? Right now, I know our typical meeting date is the third Wednesday of every month. So in January, that would put us on the 21st. 21st of January is when our next public meeting is scheduled right now. How does that date look for everybody? Want to keep that?
21st.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, great. I didn't have any other closing notes besides, again, just, really appreciate the year. And, we'll go Ms. Wiseman and then Mr. Frank.
Are we gonna pick a date for our closed meeting?
What we were gonna do this past month was the day before the public meeting.
Oh, we're gonna do it
So,
in person?
well, if able, if possible. I think it's always better if we can do it in person. I know it's difficult for people to travel. So maybe the 20th, unless there's another date that's better. Is the 20th an okay date to do that?
MLK Day, I
Discussion?
think it's that day.
I'm sorry, what is it?
Just FYI, MLK Day.
Is the 19th, is that Monday? Yeah. So it would be
What
MLK.
time?
and then- people would be traveling, so we could do 1, 2.
I think we need as much as we can, if we need it.
So what time?
1 o'clock.
What's fine?
1 o'clock?
That's
I'm
not,
here.
that's not a private meeting, right? Corporals.
Well, we'll have to discuss about, the logistics of it. I think it was intended initially to be, an internal discussion. But we may have some objection to that. So, we could hash that out right now, or we can let everybody chew on it.
I'm sorry, what?
The original intention for that meeting was for it to be an internal meeting,
Right.
but we've had some objection to that. And so I would assume a request to make it a public meeting instead. So we can either have that discussion now, or we can hold off on that and decide logistically how we want that meeting to be formatted at your time.
Can we just vote on it?
Absolutely good.
So how else are we gonna decide?
Yeah, it seems that the vote would have to be in public anyway, so.
Yeah, I would move to make a private meeting.
Second.
Okay, motion is to have the meeting internal only. That's been seconded. Any discussion about that?
Question, I'm sorry. I wasn't here when this topic came up about tabling all these cases.
So
Is it?
to catch up, yeah. So last month, there were a number of cases that were brought by several board members, and the discussion surrounded a few board members said, well, I have questions or issues about the determination, how you got to your recommendation for that. And in that discussion, we kind of discovered that there was a larger issue about how are we applying the overall matrix to our decision-making on individual cases. And it was suggested that that discussion might be worthy, might be a several-hour discussion. So it wasn't really something we decided to do in November. So the board members who had those cases offered to roll those cases until after we could sit down and kind of discuss more intimately exactly how people are applying the matrix and how they're deciding things and try to get some uniformity to those questions before we then look at the cases and say we want to vote on them. So it was recommended that before this meeting, we would do that. But then people thought more about it and said, well, it's really close to Christmas and December, and maybe it's better to do that in January. So we didn't hold that meeting yesterday. Now we're talking about doing it in January. So that's kind of what the initial thought process was behind that interim.
So the discussion, I'm sorry.
And we requested the paperwork on those so we could review the actual people.
Okay.
Lineup, so we could have a clear sense.
So is the discussion regarding confidential material or just time consuming?
Well,
Reason for this effort.
it kind of depends on how we want to discuss it. I think the original intent of the discussion was that it would be about how is everybody applying the rules that we thought we agreed on? Because there was some discussion about, well, we never agreed on that, or that's not the way I understood what we agreed on. So I think the original intent was to sit down and say, okay, what was it we really agreed on? And do we still agree on that? Is that what everybody's doing? Or are we just doing different things and we're still not sure about that uniformity? But that doesn't mean, I mean, if someone says, well, I want to talk about this particular case, I can't say exactly how the discussion will be steered, but the original intent, I believe, was to have more of an overarching discussion about what we thought we were doing. And so everybody was on sort of the same page.
It was counting priors and going outside the matrix for the two main bullet points.
If we discuss the case, that'll have to be in an open. I mean, if we actually discuss each case as we go along. I mean, that's my thinking on it. But we can discuss, like you said, how you count the priors or how we do the matrix or whatever like that. I mean.
Well, what you're not allowed to do in an open meeting is deliberate and vote on something. The remedy for an open meetings violation is a revote on an issue. So if you're deliberating on an issue that is going to be voted on or is being voted on privately, that's a violation of the open meeting. But if you're discussing things that are not going to be voted on or are not being voted on, then it's not a violation of the open meeting.
So
I'm sorry.
my
Yeah.
concern would simply be that we are at the very core of what our statutory duties are with regard to how it is that we review this, how we construct the guidelines, what do the guidelines say, what do the guidelines mean? And because it is such a central issue to the board, and because the conversation would be intended to be persuasive in nature, which would lead to deliberation. To me, that falls under things that must be discussed in public, because decisions are going to be made. Whether you vote on them or not, or just say, well, what have we all decided? You know, that in and of itself.
That's not true. I don't know where you're coming up with that, but that's not true. That's incorrect.
We've had similar
A
discussions.
vote is a vote, not a vote is not a vote, so.
So I'm going to try and do this as diplomatically and politely as
Good idea.
possible. I don't say to people in this room, it's not true. And I take offense to you characterizing my statement in that way. You may say I disagree, I don't see it that way, or I have a different perspective. But this is not the first time that publicly you have said to me, with regard to something that I've said, that that's not true. And I do take umbrage. I think there's a better way to express the fact that there are clearly different perspectives and viewpoints on this board. And that those perspectives and viewpoints are going to take conversation And some consensus will be struck with regard to that, but my, I guess, broader reading, I'm not an attorney as you are. My broader reading of the expectation of us being open and transparent public is that they have the opportunity to witness how it is that we come to agreements and how it is that we decide things. And whether it technically is a vote or not a vote, I would say that's more perspective and nuance. But that's my opinion. I think in the past, we've done workshops, we've invited them to watch us through live stream. I'm concerned that anyone would think they don't want the public to watch us. I don't have a problem with the public watching us. So for me, it's always open door because the public pays me and you can watch anything I'm saying. But that's my perspective.
Okay, any other discussion on the motion? Okay, so the motion is to keep the discussion that is happening prior to the public meeting next month, an internal only meeting. That's the motion. Ready to vote on that?
Yep.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote. Ms. Doyle?
Why do you
are
always have to start with me?
You could go last, but last or first, just because you're the only one online. We don't have to start with you, Ms. Doyle.
Sorry.
No, that's
Okay.
okay. I'm just joking. No, I think it needs to be closed.
Okay, so yay for the motion. It's a yes for the motion.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Dunn?
No.
Mr. Vascon?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
No.
Mr. Lindsay?
Yes.
Dr. Carpus?
No.
Ms. Wiseman?
Yes.
Mr. Frank?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherry?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. So we will plan to have that as an internal meeting, and we will set up the logistics for that in the coming weeks. Okay, I don't have any other closing notes for anyone.
The agenda setting meeting will be the week before.
Yes, so the agenda setting meeting will be on the 14th at our normal time, 10 a.m., and the invite will be sent out.
Okay, thank you.
I will give it back to the chairman for closing.
There's no further discussion. Does anyone have a motion for adjournment?
Like, can I get a motion for Merry Christmas?
With an adjournment.
All in favor? All opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. I'm going to